Welcome everyone to the Apex Legends African Throwdown. My name is Proxy, and tonight I will be trying and attempting to fill the shoes of Dr. Sid. But thankfully for your ears, I'm joined by Thendo Plays and Camille Chickday. Guys, here we are, day 4 of the group stages. How are you feeling about this?
You know what? Ready as ever. Super excited to see what the groups are gonna bring us today. Wasn't able to really catch too much of Group C's action. But I kind of made a prediction that Elite Gaming was gonna, come up on top, but I don't think that actually ended up happening. I know you two are costing that. You mind telling me a little bit about what happened there?
Ooh, Camille, do you want to tell him about the Mayo addicts? Do you want to tell him about the scandal that happened with Elite Gaming?
It was cracked. Like, we had so many crazy things happen. It was the whole map. There was we had extra maps, half extra maps, but all teams capitalized. Mayo Addicts was so clutch. They were so consistent. And Elite Gaming, they had some of the most exciting games. Shout out to my boy Vias, MVP of the league so far for winning the whole round by himself. But it was good stuff all around. You should go catch the fast Tinder. There was some good stuff that through that matches.
It was some really good stuff. But talking about tonight, we've got a bit of a different schedule going on, and we can look at that shortly. So tonight's obviously going to be a little bit different. We've got 2 groups going head-to-head, not just one. We have 2. So the first going to be Group A, heading those first 2 maps, Kings Canyon and Olympus, as per usual. And then Group B is going to be making an appearance, heading it on to Kings Canyon and Olympus again. So that's a little bit of a different, situation. We can talk about that in a little bit. But, I mean, Thendo, just a quick one. How do you think this is going to influence the team's play? Because now, instead of having 4 maps, to really get their points up there, they've only got 2, and it's their last 2.
Yeah, it's really odd, where you have to come on the day and it's like, hey guys, we have one game to really feel it out, and then our second game is where we really need to pop off. And on top of that, it's not even the same map, so it's really gonna be interesting to see which teams are able to adapt fast enough. But I'm sure, Group A, probably looking at DNMK, Group B, ATK, probably going to be, the stars of the show. But yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. It's really just, you have to land on the server and dominate right off the bat, I think.
Yeah, and we've been talking about that passive versus aggressive playstyle, and I mean, you can see how the points are being distributed here. We've had teams literally put up as many points as that first place is showing you, where the first place has the most points, not only 20 kills, but the 20k points. So talking about it now, and you can see it on your screen, those kills matter just as much as placements. And I've seen a lot of teams still playing quite passively, and it's absolutely to their detriment so far. Camille, from your side, how do you think the playstyle is influencing these teams now? Not only do they only have 2 maps to work with, but they really need to catch up to those top dogs.
Well, I think at this point, your top dogs, especially if you're in Group A, are far gone. DNMK got average 20 kills per lobby and plays first in every lobby. Nobody's catching them. I don't think that should be their intention, because DNMK, they could fall asleep during these next 2 games and they'll still be first place on the log, with all due respect. But the rest of them, you could see that super aggressive play style. You could see them play even more conservatively, because they really need the points and the points from placing high, and they don't want to take any risks. So we'll see how it pans out. But Group A, from like 3rd place till about 7th, 8th place, I want to see guys take risks more. I feel like the lobby was quite passive with Group A as opposed to B and C, outside of the top dogs, of course, because Blind Peakers and DNMK absolutely styled. But your Royal Esports, your Krokkenosters, your Innovated Gaming Skies, they were the 3rd most kills on the lobby. As a team, I want to see them do more. I want to see them get in the face, because I feel like DMNK and Blind Peakers, we just leave them to it. They're just going to own the lobby once again. They're just going to run away with it. They're going to dominate every stretch of the map. They're just going to have fun. And I think you don't want to just let them have free fun. You want to put a spanner in their works,
You do. But I mean, it's talking about the points, talking about the maps, we also have to talk about what exactly are these teams playing for today. And that's, of course, the prize pool that we have on your screens right now. So, of course, your champions are going to run away with that $400, whereas the rest are going to, share the split of that $1,000 prize pool right now. 3rd place taking 200, 2nd place taking also 300, and then 4th taking, a nice little consolation prize. But next weekend, we're going to be finding out how this is going down. We're going to be finding out who your top 4 are going to be. So tonight and tomorrow are going to basically find the final groups, find your final 40 for those top 4 placements potentially. And I mean, we've got an idea about, who 2 might be. in that top four? We might have an idea. I don't know. The triple points might be giving us a bit of an indication, but we can check how the overall standings are showcasing so far. Either way, I mean, yeah, just I might have 3 potential, placements for next weekend. So far, Thendo and Camille, who are you guys looking out for tonight? Who are your couple of teams that you're looking out for from across? Let's just work about the first group.
So again, go first, Thendo. You are comfortable. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Group A, it's honestly, for me, it's really just DNMK and blind, peakers that were really dominating the lobbies and really showing, how to play that competitive Apex game. So I kind of feel like the first 2 games, well, these not first 2 games, these 2 games are really just gonna favor DNMK, considering I'm sure they're warmed up and ready to, stomp the lobby. I think blind peakers needs to really watch the kill feed and maybe try to pick them off, from a fight that they might be out in the open. But yeah, I mean, if you look at even the top 4 right now, it's kind of tough. We only get blind peakers, who's the only other team in like that top echelon that's from Group A that are sitting there at 5th place, in the overall standing. So Group A really needs to put in some work as a collective to just like try bump the scores up, because there's a lot of teams from the other groups here that I'm seeing. But I think, especially with today, we really need to see a slower game. We don't want to see us loading into this first game, Group A, and it's just a rampage off the get-go. We really need to get the teams to settle in, play a slow-paced game, try find their footing in, because today's the day. This is like, you have to make that, is it top 40 to make it onto the semifinals weekend? And if you don't get that, then it's like game over, ball done,
It's exactly that. Camille, from your side, anyone from Group A other than the blind peakers and DNMK that you saw a little bit of a shining dimmer of hope?
You have to see that glimmer of hope being proven today, because like Thendo was saying earlier, they're the only 2 representing. Krokkenosters finished 3rd in that group, and they're sitting at 11th place in the overall standing. So I really want to be seeing them do more. But like Thendo said as well, don't want to be under too much pressure. Don't want to feel too rushed, because this is the final chance at qualification for Group A to be in the top 40. So they need to take their time, get their placements, be assured of what they're doing in the lobby, and not get caught out in any funny situations, taking no crazy 50-50s at the get-go. They need to have a strong game plan and need to be able to stick to it throughout these 2 maps. I feel like that's the most important thing right now.
So a lot of pressure, especially for the not top 2 teams from Group A. They have to really show up if they want to make it into that top 40. I've seen a few names here and there that seem a little bit familiar, but I think you guys are hitting the nail on the head. Group A have quite the mission ahead of them, quite the hill to climb if they want to get into that top 40. They've got a lot of contention. They've got a lot of teams really showing up and really stepping up to the party. So tonight, I really do want to see Group A. I think that slower game is probably the best opportunity that they have to really get some good points, get a good, bit of strategy going, especially placements. I think a lot of teams have been getting really good kills, but not necessarily the placements to match. I think Blind Peakers was also one of them in the beginning. They were really getting some good kills, but then they would barely make it into the top 10, not really getting those placements, and a few others as well. Camille, from your side, and actually Thendo, you can add in here, starting it off on Kings Canyon. What do you guys think needs to be the strategy here? Do you think you just need to get your loot? You need to take it slow? Go for the kills? What's happening?
Listen, if you're blind peakers, right, I don't think there's too much pressure, because you definitely qualified to the semifinals. But at the same time, if we saw how they played in the opening night of the Apex Throwdown, African Throwdown, they did when they got to the 4th map, right? They were very comfortable. They were top 2 guaranteed, no questions asked about it. Them and DNMK, but they kind of messed about. But in the 4th map, they took a 50-50 right at the start, and they got knocked out. So they technically got all their points and kills from 3 maps because they lost the 50-50 on the 4th map, which is all well and fine. You're ahead of your group, but I feel like today statements need to be made. This is the final days of group stage. Show the people who you are. Yes, you're 2nd in your group, but take that one. Get to that end zone. Take up a fight against DNMK, show that you have a chance to not just compete with the big dogs, but beat them as well.
Well, Thendo, I think you're going to have to give him a little bit of a deeper insight into Kings Canyon, being the expert here. But I'm going to have to leave you guys. Everyone watching at home, don't worry. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. You are in the very capable hands of Thendo Players and Camille Chikte. They know a lot more about this game than I could ever hope to know. So don't stress. They're going to have all the play-by-plays for you tonight. And don't forget, follow NODWIN Gaming Africa because this is going to be a spicy one. Good luck, guys. Let's get it.
Yeah, and I mean, just picking up on that point on Kings Canyon, I mean, we've seen so many Kings Canyon games so far in this African Throwdown, and we know it's fast rotations, you know. We're going to see a lot of fights break loose and the loot distribution as well. You know, if you're not really getting that RNG, it's going to be a little bit tough because what that forces you to do is look for more loot. And what happens when you look for more loot? You might stumble into a different squad. So it's really going to be well thought out rotations, you know, team fighting that's going to clutch it up for those teams. And I'm looking at, you know, the bottom half of the table today for all the games, Group A and Group B. If you're in that bottom half of the table, you really just need to make sure you end up in the top 10 in your group at least, right? Because I'd imagine you being top 10 in your group would probably qualify you to be top 40 overall, you know, just by looking at that. You don't want to miss out on that. And so this is where you have to start looking at, okay, guys, we have so and so many points. How many points does it take for us to reach this threshold? And I'd say you're probably trying to look at least top 20. You want to try and make it into the top 20 in terms of the overall standings. So you really need to just look where everybody's going to be landing, plot out a good rotation, and just, you know, play your game.
100%. I'm very interested to see how the meta would shift today for Group A, because if we look at how Group B and C did constructed their team compositions, was very different to the sort of stock standard we saw in Group A, where people play quite conservatively. You had that Jib, Wraith, and Bloodhound combinations. A very solid lineup, no doubt. But we saw Group C, especially the Revenant. We see it already with this first team here, with Leaf ZA, Turbo 47, and Trooper, where the Revenant Octane, those were the two main guys. The jump in you cheesy combo with the ultimate, with the totem and the jump pad, where you can just jump in across the map, go third party a team, kill them, and just go back all the way back to safety. So I wonder if we'll see different compositions in this first game here on Kings Canyon.
Yeah, and just looking at the distribution of where the teams are going, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Not too many people are landing, you know, somewhere where they're going to get contested. That Hydro Repulsor area along with Swamps might be a little bit heated. We'll see how that fares. But actually, it looks like a lot of people are going towards the gauntlet. I wonder if that late land is going to be really contested or what. But we're tuning into Yogis here, who have found themselves all the way at the back of the map, all the way towards the north side. And they've got the entirety of Rig to loot for themselves. Camille, what do you think about Rig? I don't know if you played too much on it or if you have seen many fights on Rig, but what's your standpoint on this?
This is not my comfortable spot to land at when I play Kings Canyon. Rig's not my home turf, but I feel like there's a lot of high grounds. There's always a lot of loot, especially when you play in this kind of area where you're completely free, like the Yogis team, where you can just, this is your entire place. So a lot of good loot here, a lot of intricate places to fight. Again, there's high grounds, there's buildings to fight in. It's always a fun place to be in.
Yeah, it's definitely a really good point of interest. If you're not contested, you do get a lot of loot. You do have somewhat a good rotation. Usually rotating from that point, you'll be coming off the edge, but we tune in to the Darkest Night, who are taking a little bit of smoke here. And you just need to be careful, and it looks like Terminator is going to end up going down to Cloudy, as well as the next player on the team. So it's now all up to the Gibraltar player, who lost not so long, unfortunately, and Royal Esports come in and take them out. And now they've got another fight on their hands, but they're in a really good position here on this high ground on top of this rock. But unfortunately, the Wraith player, Alfron, gets a knock, but that BB res is probably going to save their skins here.
Looking good for now, and I actually made a mistake on the standings. Royal Esports were the third team in the group. Krokkenosters were fourth, and they've been playing pretty decent so far. They were playing quite conservatively in the lobby that we saw on opening night here in African Throwdown, but they took a great engagement here. They got themselves 3 points here with kills, eliminating a whole squad. And they're still wanting to take this fight as well. They're in a decent position here on the high ground. Let's see if they can finish them off here.
As we tune into Punisher's Apex, who find themselves at the little compound just outside of the airbase. The fight is breaking loose and they're getting pushed right now, but they're doing well to hold themselves. Swapping over to DNMK. Camille, DNMK. kind of interesting to see them not fighting right now. Maybe DNMK is deciding that, you know what, boys, we don't need to take things too fast today. Maybe slow things down and just, you know, loot up our game and just wait for that, you know, that win.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced just yet. That's what I said on one of the games in the last lobby, and legitimately they average 20 kills a game. So I feel like maybe they're just warming up. But by the time the action starts really kicking off, they will be there in the center of it. But good job by the Punishers team we went to earlier. Arrow and the boys, you know, coming from the Fortnite background, they're doing okay here. They had a rough time in on the opening day when Group A played firstly, because they ran into DMNK one lobby, Blind Peekers the next one, DMNK again, and then Blind Peekers. So they fought the top 2 squads every single map. So maybe this time they can make rotate. They have a bit better luck when they're rotating this time around. Now we see a fight breaking out again. IGL looking for a kill. They get one down. Actually, they get a full-on Elam here.
Yeah, and it does look like that is Royal Esports who will go down to the team of IGL. It's unfortunate for Royal Esports. They were off to a good start. They got a lot of KP there. I mean, can't be too unhappy with that. They're probably gonna make the semifinals weekend. So for them, they're just trying to improve their team play. And it's all up now to the dope Yogis to try to clutch this fight up, but it's just not gonna be enough. After he gets the one knock, he gets immediately taken down by Cool Akindis, who's now going to get the res as we tune into Blind Peekers, who are out here at Caustic treatment. And the R301 shot from Aquatic are flying through. He's going to try to join his team up in the building. NEOFLUX, the team in this fight. The Scudbuster pulls in with that flatline, doing so much damage, and takes out Fancy. And now they're just going to try to stabilize and probably fish out this lost player on the team.
R301, yeah.
And they get killed, they're gonna get the next kill. Good stuff from Blind Peekers. This is the level of performance we know we're gonna see from them. We see Gutbuster already with golden armor. We haven't even got to the second ring yet. That's Blind Peekers at their absolute finest right there, Tendo.
Yeah, definitely showing what they've got. And I mean, for them, it's also just one of those games where, look, we're probably in semi-finals. Let's just try and improve our team play together. Let's try and work together and, you know, maybe get one of these wins in these 2 games. And Gutbuster going crazy with this flatline as he tries to aggress up onto this Gibby dome. The Gibby's caught sleeping out in the open there, and Thunder goes down. So now Gutbuster's gonna rush up behind this corner, manages to get this next knock as well. So now there's one person left on the team, and Gutbuster is just going absolutely manic with this flatline, and then pulls out the EVA 8 on top of that, and solos the team. Kill leader right now with 5 kills, doing so much for his squad right now.
Whoa, Gutbuster. Calm down. The lobby just started, man. He dominated there. Absolutely methodical, bringing down almost 3 guys just by himself there. Sensational stuff. They're in a great place. And that Caustic treatment plan, that's my home turf, Tendo. That's where I like to land when I play. Can be a bit 50-50 sometimes because the hotly contested spot depending on where the ship is coming from. But always good loot. A great place to fight, especially out in the open, in the buildings. It's just fun. That's my area. And Krokkenosters, I want to talk about them for a little bit because I put some criticism on them in the panel section of this broadcast where I said, yes, they placed very well in a lot of the games, but they didn't do a lot to get kills, but we see them won 1 fight already in this lobby. So let's see how they transition into the later portions of this map because they're already onto a more aggressive start.
Yeah, they're doing well with their rotation as well. They find themselves towards that middle area of the zone on some high ground. So if I'm them, I'm probably just waiting to see if we can see any teams rotating and then make our moves. But it looks like they're gonna transition over to this little hill building, and they've spotted somebody at the bunker. And who's that sneaking just behind them? It's DNMK. So they need to be really careful if they get into this bunker fight right now, Camille, because what ultimately is gonna happen is DNMK is just gonna come from behind and just clean them all up.
We see the wingman shots coming out here. None of them landing in clutch. Going to take a lot of damage. The GB shield going to come out for some protection. Should be able to battery up here. The DNMK, they want to take this fight. I don't mind Krokkenosters taking this, putting the DNMK under pressure. He can't just run away in the game of Apex Legends. They're going to get scanned out. They are fully healthy and they've got a couple of good weapons here. Mastiffs, wingmans, all the good loot. Let's see how they pressure. The G7 got very good from the long range. Can he get any chip damage off? None of the shots landing there potentially. Oh, I say that and look at that expert aim from the main man from DNMK. He's gonna go for more. He's gonna push forward here on the GB.
Tenchi just putting out so much damage with that G7 Scout, which is just wonderful to see as Clutch jumps on top of the roof. And now it's just looking very grim right now for the team. They're just gonna get absolutely rolled over by DNMK. And DNMK now on the kill board as well as they start to run through the lobby. And maybe this is efficient, a couple of extra squads here, and I'm not mistaken by saying that as Team Devs is right at the bottom trying to take some shots at DNMK. They need to be careful because if they're caught sleeping, Tenchi just might snap on them.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, third partying always a great thing to do in Apex Legends, but at the point they third partying, DNMK fully healthy because they just dominated their fight. They weren't really pressured, so they're still in prime position to fight, and they're probably going to go for this kill here in that building here. And looking for some pressure on shots on the mark there eventually from Tenchi. They're trying to zipline out. And I wonder if DNMK will let them go free there and just rotate to zone instead. Probably will.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the NMK really wants to drop down, give up this high ground position just yet, even though the zone... No, the zone is pulling back towards them, so they're actually sitting in a pretty comfortable position. And speaking of comfortable position, they might not be so comfortable for too long as Blind Peekers is snuffing out this fight and scoping out the area. Are we going to see DNMK and Blind Peekers fight early on, or are they going to opt to go for a rotation? I haven't really gotten a good glimpse of the map and where the zone is going to be pulling and what exactly is the god spot just yet. But hopefully we can get that up soon to see what happens. But right now, Blind Peekers are looking to just not go for this fight and just go for the rotation, which is probably the better play right here.
100%. No need to take any risks just yet. Give us that anticipation for that epic boss battle that we've all been hyping up to see, the Blind Peekers versus DNMK matchup. If we look at loot, both teams are sitting very pretty. DNMK do have a player with a wingman with 2 golden attachments, and we see Scare there on Blind Peekers has 4 golden attachments on the R301, which has been like the god gun of the lobbies over the course of this African Throwdown so far. Very balanced weapon, been used to absolute perfection, and I'm surprised at the lack of sniper usage on this map, because I saw for Group A in the first day of the tournament, on their first broadcast day, they had a lot of sniper usage, especially on the Kings Canyon map, where a lot of guys are farming damage, getting up those shields from a long distance quite quickly. But I kind of like the more, run at you type engagements. It's much more fun from a broadcast perspective.
Was it Group A using snipers, or was it Dustweaker? I mean, Group B using snipers, or Dustweaker? You know what I mean?
They were using it on Olympus, though. They were using it a lot on Olympus. Dustweaker was at a whole other level. He wasn't using snipers, he was using aim hacks, man.
Yeah, it was honestly a display of how long he's put in this game, time-wise. And right now, Punishers are doing really well this game. I'm kind of loving what they're doing. They're taking fights, they're not, being too passive, which I think was their problem in the first few games of this group. They're a little bit too passive, but they also wanted to be aggressive. But now they're just going on, know what they've got, and they know they can win some fights. So they're going to go for these fights. And that's good. This is what we actually need from the lobby. Yes, DNMK and Blind Peekers are a powerhouse in the lobby, but you know what? You have an opponent that you probably can kill, and vice versa. Go look for them just as hard as DNMK and Blind Peekers are looking for their opponents. And Silverbeards are now on the back foot here, as Punishers are trying to fight them through here. At the backside of Crash side, and Iroh takes a lot of damage, needs to pull out, has to clear the battery. Chips just in the same position. But it looks like the Horizon player from Punishers pushes in. They managed to get a knock as well, so now the tables have turned quite well, but no! I'm wrong! It looks like Silverbeards now has the better position with the tap rest going off. Freddy's gonna pop up in the R99 shots, finish off Punishers. That's a surprise to me, honestly. I thought Punishers had that fight on wraps after they got that knock, but you can never count a lifeline out.
Man, oh man, what a crazy engagement. Kaizi does get that initial knock, like you said. It was such a close engagement. Both teams had such similar loot, the same guns, 2 R99s and such, but at the end of the day, Geeko and the boys do get the win. And like you say, that lifeline Riz just so clutch in that situation. Good on them. Sad for my boys on the Punishers team, repping the Fortnite lads. But it is what it is. Apex reigning supreme as the BR for today.
Yeah, definitely. And Blind Peekers are peeking some people here, trying to get some damage in. Probably trying to level up their Evo shields. The faster they can get to red, the better position they'll be in. Just hanging on the edge of the zone, trying to fish whatever damage they can get. And you know what? It's interesting to see a lifeline in the battlefields. I didn't think there'd be too many lifelines out here, but you know what? You can never count them out. They're always there to be annoying and hit you with those tap reses. And it's just unfortunate to see Punishers go down like that. But now DNMK are just pushing a team that's on the outskirts here. Just caught out of rotation, I believe, is what's happening here. And Clutch going for the finisher. Gonna blast him right back to the lobby.
Absolutely no chill there. So what's your thoughts on this, Tendo? With the recent nerf to the Mastiff, do you rate the EVA 8 over it, or you still favoring the Mastiff?
Look, I think with the gun metas right now of Apex Legends, I think most guns are pretty viable. I wouldn't really outrule any gun. I mean, look, if you pick up a P2020 and find some hammer points, I mean, it's a laser, you know? And I mean,
Right.
Along with the Mozambique. So I'll say in certain fights, I'd like to have an EVA 8. In certain fights, I'd like to have a Mastiff. Will I get those fights? Probably not, because I'll be using either of the opposite weapon. So it's really just up to personal preference and whatever works best for you. But I definitely still think the Mastiff has a place in the gameplay as well as the EVA 8 now. But now, speaking of some gameplay, looking at where the map is, we see a lot of the teams are actually starting to make their way to this final zone. DNMK do have a member down, so the tables have turned in this fight. And now Trilly with R31 trying to take some shots, and here's the EVA 8 doing so much damage there onto Gecko. He goes down, and he turns around again. Trilly, the EVA 8, the fire rate is what makes it good. That's what I think, Camille. You know, you're not going to get that fire rate out of a Mastiff.
And that's what we just saw. Perfect example. And Tendo, what you said was also true. I've watched your stream. Whenever you use the Mastiff, you always get the low damage shot. So I would recommend the EVA 8 instead. But DNMK, they drop a member. Like we saw, actually, they did in the first game of Group A on the first map. But they recovered. They're all good in the end. We see the red shields now on Altrudy after that expert engagement from him. They still in decent position. All's well and fine in the hood. When all said and done. And now we're getting into our top 5 almost here. Just 6 squads left, going in our 3rd ring here. Map's getting a bit smaller. Blind Peak has got a really nice spot here on the high ground. And we see a dropship right in their line of sight.
Yeah, I've quite enjoyed the pacing of this game. It's at that level where it's fast but slow. But speaking of fast, they scared with those R301 shots. You've been talking so much about the R301 being so in meta right now, and you can just see why. He almost just looked at him and he died. And that's just unfortunate. And DNMK now have seen that fight. They're going to try to rush up here. And this is a little bit scary, as Clutch is just going to zoom on in almost solo as he tries to fish out this kill. But I think he should be fine for this fight to win it out. And there he is. He manages to get that kill. And he's got to be really careful because Blind Peakers is really close. And if he catches himself getting knocked on top of that position, it's going to be really hard for DNMK to recover him.
Yeah, he is man against the world right now. But we've seen Clutch do crazier things in the past. They get away with it. So he should be good for now. But it looks like we are priming up to see that boss battle between Blind Peakers and DNMK. I think the third party is really going to be the defining factor of this game. Innovation Gaming in a decent place as well. They've got another great placement. They've had a lot of kills in the past lobbies as well in Group A's initial group matches. And they're seeming to do very well this time around again, securing their top 5 finish. And let's see how far they can push it.
Yeah, I mean, Innovated, another one of those teams who, you know, I kind of expected to be doing a little bit better in the lobbies. Definitely this game, they're doing pretty well. They're just a team that have constantly been in the scene, scrimming, competing in Apex, and just trying to, you know, improve themselves. But hey, I mean, you get Blind Peakers along with DNMK in your lobby. It can be a little bit difficult, especially when Tenchi is just firing shots like a madman like this with the G7 Scout. I mean, look, it's really, really difficult to run G7 Scout with a shotgun. You really need to, you know, back your shots there. You know what I mean, Camille? It's so much easier running R301 and a Mastiff because you have some room for some leeway in terms of missing your shots. But Innovated Sky here might find themselves in a fight with Blind Peakers if they're not too careful here, and that's exactly what is happening here. That bus is taking a lot of damage though, so they have to calm down just a tiny little bit.
Got to recover your Blind Peakers in a precarious situation. Gasparta is going to get the heal off, so you should be okay. Innovation Gaming playing brave, and it's paying off for now, forcing out a lot of resources. Are they going to manage to clutch it out though? Scare taking a lot of damage himself. He's going to be forced to pop the battery. Very tense engagement. The threat of third party is always there as well at this point in the lobby. Let's see how this pans out. I'm pulling for the Shelby boys, but is it gonna be? Is it gonna work out for them? See the ulti coming out. Okay, force fight. So much damage coming up from Scare. We've seen him pull these stunts before. Feeling confident on race. He's got his ulti. He's got his Q up and available. He can get in and aggressive right now. But Gasbuster, he seems to have gone down, and DNMK making their way here as well. They're looking to third party. Can they close out this lobby, Tendo?
And now Scare has to calm down just a tiny little bit and try to get this battery. I'm sure they're called that DNMK is on the prowl. has been given out. He's going to try Q out and get out of position. Now DNMK have the high ground in this fight. So Aquatic and Scare split up. So Scare's going to have to try win this fight, but it's not looking good for him as the even 8 shots from Clutch just come flying through the door. And there's nothing he can do about that. Just
It's Mortal Kombat now, boys.
Yeah, it's definitely Mortal Kombat at this point. Aquatic, probably the last one left on blind peak as DNMK just did so well to just hold out for as long as they can. And now the only other person left in this game is Swin, who is the only member left on NEOFLUX. So now DNMK are just looking for rats, honestly.
I mean, so much gets spoken about the aim, you know, this clutch gameplay at this point of the game and such. But at the end of the day, what we saw here from DNMK was just experience and composure. They waited. They never got into any sticky engagements too early. They held their position. They waited for the other teams to take the risk, and they just swooped in. And they in prime position now to win the lobby because they playing up against 2 rats. There's no way they should not be able to close out here, not at this level of gameplay. We did see crazy stuff from Vias, but that was a whole completely different situation. We see Aquatic going to get caught out here immediately. Got a couple of good shots off here, but in the end, he's going to be the one to perish. Bye-bye, sir.
Yeah, and Tenchi just comes in with the punches as well to just throw him off a little bit more. And now it's just up to Swin. Back against the wall. This is it. Gotta give it your all. Is he gonna be able to clutch this out against the NMK? And the shots are really good though to start off, but it's not enough. And the NMK unsurprisingly win the first game in Group A.
Great stuff from our champions. It's now 5 games, lobbies in a row they've won here in Group A, so they certainly cemented themselves as the best. Not that there was any doubt. They need more competition. They're ready for the semi-finals already, Tendo.
Yeah, they're definitely ready for these semi-finals. I mean, 5 games, guys. 5! That's my whole hand, like all my fingers, man. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So shout out to DNMK. They've really been putting in some work, and you can just see why they're one of the best teams in, you know, the African continent. They just do so much. They play so well together as a team. And, you know, there were moments where I'm like, maybe Clutch is pushing out a little bit too much. But no, everybody's, you know, controlled. They know exactly what's happening, where everybody is at the right time. And I mean, hey, there you go. They get the win.
So DNMK once again going for the win. So far, Camille, Thindo, is there anyone, do you think, that's going to be breaking DNMK's streak so far?
Look, I think if Blind Peakers and Innovated weren't in the same location and, you know, getting in that fight, I think Blind Peakers wasn't doing too bad that game. I think they knew they had to just hopefully be in DNMK's position, and unfortunately they went in that position. You know, they just had to Uno reversal where they were at, and they be the team to come in third party. But hey, I mean, that just what happens when you have to play whatever rotation you're given, and you know, maybe Blind Peakers next game.
Well, there it is, your champions DNMK for day 4 of the group stages, and so far, I mean, 4 in a row, looking good. I am curious, though, who the MVP is going to be, because I saw a couple of cheeky finishes coming through from Clutch. I mean, you're getting that armor back, so it's always a bit of a worthwhile situation, but he was feeling it. You could see. I mean, there was a couple times I just saw him on the top of a mountain, and he was chilling, and there it is. I was waiting for it. Clutch, your MVP, 6 kills and 1.4k damage. So how has the performance of DNMK set the stage now? I mean, we were talking about it. It's the last opportunity for a lot of the teams in Group A. And now Kings Canyon is out for the count. You've only got Olympus left. What are your opportunities here?
Well, we've seen in the past, Olympus has been that straight-up bloodbath lobbies. You know, people... At this game, I agree completely with what Tendo said. I'm so impressed how the Group A teams have adjusted. They've had their time. They watched their VODs. They learned from the experience from the last time. And they've stepped up their game. They made a statement here in this final game. This was some great competitive Apex Legends lobbies. Of course, Olympus is going to be the Wild Wild West, I assume. But... I'm just sad about the MVP. Yeah, production. I contested. I think truly he hasn't won one MVP yet out the 5 lobbies. And I think he deserved it this game because by the time they were under pressure, he was the guy who stepped up when Clutch was busy dying. So you the MVP by my heart, man.
Well, I mean, look, there's still another map for Group A, and we might actually see an truly MVP on the last map for the group stages. But for now, for those of you still watching, we're going to head to a short break, and please stay with us because we've got a lot more Apex Legends action. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown, hosted, of course, by NODWIN Gaming Africa. And Thendo Plays and Camille Chikte are here to guide me in the ways of Apex. Guys, we've just seen Kings Canyon gone and flown by in an instant, with the DNMK, of course, coming out on top. I think the 5th map in the row so far. We're on day 4 of the group stages, and they've got one more map for Group A for their chance to get into that top 40 for the playoffs. So far, we've got Blind Peekers looking pretty good, but we'll see with the standings how these teams have been performing and how close they might be getting to that sweet top 40 spot. Oh, whoa, DNMK, 194 points with the second place leading with 90. Camille, what's happening here?
Listen, if you ask me, Marie, to be perfectly honest, I think DNMK are really slacking. They were playing way below the average. They didn't even get 20 kills in the lobby. Tendo, you need to check in with your team and see what they're doing. Really not playing up to scratch. Just memeing. It was a sensational game, and me and Tendo were even saying off broadcast that we feel like Group A really showed up in this lobby. Like, from what they scrimmed, they came prepared. Everybody looked like they were serious. They know this is their last chance. They were into it. Now, my only worry is, going to the next map, how things are going to pan out. Obviously, Olympus is a bit wilder, but the top 5 teams still the same. Royal Esports still there. Krokkenosters still there. They both played pretty aggressive early on, but both of them are unfortunately getting caught out to the third parties in early game engagement. But the kill points were there, so they are playing a bit different to how they were playing in the earlier lobbies in the first day of the group stage.
So, I mean, that's the improvement that we were asking for when we said Group A, this is one of their last chances. They need to kick it up a notch. Now, Thendo, we're going on to Olympus. Now, give me some insight here. Olympus, the last map for Group A, what are they going to do here? This is their last opportunity, and it's such a hectic map. Take us through it.
Yeah, Olympus is definitely, I think now, after we've played a little bit of Kings Canyon, just in general as an Apex community, a lot of us will agree that Olympus third parties and just rotations are a lot worse than KC in one way or another. You land somewhere like Estates, for example, and for some reason everybody has easy access to that area to rotate, get involved in your fights. So the thing about Olympus is you really need to be good at cleaning up your fights fast, because if not, someone is hearing you and someone's going to make that rotation. But I'm actually really happy with how that first game went for Group A. As we did say, the teams are improving. I can definitely see that. I mean, look, we make the joke that DNMK weren't able to drop another 20 bomb in this lobby to keep it, consistent 20s, but that means those kills are going to the other teams. That means the other teams are improving. They're getting more kills away from DNMK, and that's exactly how it needs to be. I think that game was really good. I mean, Blind Peekers performed really well. Innovated Sky did really well. So I'd like to see those names again in our top 5 for this game, but it also depends on where everybody decides to land, I think.
We're going to wait and you see how it's going to be going, and you guys are going to be taking us through that play-by-play. So for all of you watching, this is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. I'm going to hand over to these wonderful gentlemen, and we're going to see how this last map for Group A is going to go down. Good luck, guys. Let's see how it goes.
Thank you so much, Marie. This is the do or die moment. This is the final chance of qualification for Group A. We saw a great last lobby, but this one, this is where it all counts. This is where it's on the line. If you're not in that top 40 overall standings, this is your final chance. Can you clutch out a victory? Can you clutch out those points? Can you get those kills? If you've been struggling so far, Tendo, do you expect to see some wild card, just random team rising up through the ashes to do something wild here? Or do you think it's just going to be standard Apex Legends and, this that we've seen so far in the past?
Look, last week, when we were casting the 80k group, I was like, you know what, if you're one of those teams at the bottom, it's time to just do something crazy. And I think it is time to do something crazy. Last game, if you're bottom 3-ish, I think, maybe bottom 4, this is do or die, because you're probably not in that top 40 at this point. You need the biggest game of your life, which isn't impossible, as you can see in Apex Legends, in most battle royales. If things go your way, if you're not to play, things just might work in your favor. So now we need to see some of those teams really bring it out and pull it out, and just quick look at where everything and where all the teams are starting to land. I'm quite happy with how the distribution is looking. That south side is going to be really contested, though. I think we're going to see a lot of fights breaking loose in that south side. The north side seems a little bit more emptier, so I don't think we're going to see too many fights. But we're now tuning into DNMK, who have chosen Bonsai Plaza as their twin tower home.
It's so funny to see how the people decide to drop in these lobbies on Olympus, because a lot of the times I think me and you were casting a game last week where everybody dropped north side. Like there was nobody who went south side. Maybe 1 or 2 teams max. And then there was just a bloodbath this side. This time around, we see a lot of teams dropping on the south side, 3 to 4 teams, and on the east side, we see a lot of teams dropping as well. So it's a bit spread, a bit of a better spread. But it will be very interesting to see if we do see these early game engagements. This is not a team you want to run into if you are trying to get a 50-50, so to speak, because blind peekers, this is what they live for. These fights. This is why they play the game. It's an FPS game, and that's what they do best. Shoot homies down. Oh, great massive shot there for 22 damage. Can he finish him? Kill Aquatic's going to come there through as well. Look at this damage coming out. Excellent movement here from Scare as well. His shield going to break. He's going to get downed. But can his team come in, help him out here? Aero GG. They ran into Punishers once again. Punishers have a thing for running into blind peekers, it seems, this time around. And they're doing decently. They took down the main fragger, Mr. Scare. One of the most aggressive players throughout our lobby, but now Punishers, they're going to be in trouble. Look at Aquatic jump forward. They're going to bring Kaizi down. He's dead. They need to go save their teammate. Still early in the game, 1 down. It's not too big of a deal. He's got the shield as well, so I don't think the finish is going to be there. Not with his teammates in the area, at least.
Blind Peekers just won that fight with a disconnected player, by the way, Camille. I don't know if you noticed that. Gutbusters was probably trying to reconnect to the lobby. So that was the Scare game right there. That was all Scare. Really gifted mechanical play. I'm not sure if you've watched a couple of the older Scrim games. Maybe if you've seen myself in Cinder Custom, but I can particularly remember this one game where Scare was sat on top of the rig in Kings Canyon, and he completely farmed an entire lobby off the top side. And Scare's probably one of the rising, players in South Africa. If he continues to play Apex Legends, of course, he'll go really far, I think. And those master shots, that gameplay, the mechanics can really show that. And we tune into LTT, who are putting in a good amount of damage here. And Trooper does so much work there. He's gonna have to try and move in to finish off this fight. He gets inside the building. The Mirage decoy, though, gets him bamboozled. Mirage, very stepped-on play, legend, I think, because you can just see those bamboozles are going really hard for him right now. He doesn't know who to shoot. Where's the real player? But luckily, he manages to get him down eventually. And they're just going to stabilize now, as they do have an advantage over DT Gaming. The 2 players, though, looking to get that tap res, and there's that lifeline tap res coming in a little bit clutch, but unfortunately, the lifeline doesn't know what's happening. But General putting in a lot of massive shots here. He needs to clutch one more, and it's just not enough. But that rest goes through, and now it's the Viking who might be able to get one down and pull things back.
Can he clean this up? He's got the vault. Decent energy gun here, and he's going to go down eventually. It was a good try. It was a good attempt. But LTT, they were under pressure there. They had 2 down teammates. Leaf going to be able to clutch things out. Going to have to go take one of the teammates back to the spawn beacon. Oh, what am I saying? He's back alive.
Yeah, and it's that north side of the map. I did highlight it earlier in the beginning of the game. There was a lot of teams that dropped this side, so I'm sure teams have also heard that fight. Or luckily, they're all fighting on the Orbital Canyon, which is like right at the bottom. So maybe no one has really heard this and is going to come and, ruin their party there of LTT. But they've done well now to get those kills in. They just need to wait and play for that placement. And DNMK
playing GTA now, getting into the car.
Oh, okay, cool. DNMK flying in the air, trying to get this rotation fast, and I'm sure they've made a lot of noise. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that, and they just need to be careful. One thing about Tridents is, as soon as they start getting shot, everybody in the team actually takes damage. I'm not too sure if you knew that, Camille.
I did not know that. That is a bit of a high risk, high reward thing right there. But they seem okay for now. Innovation Gaming looking to take a fight here. Hayes shielding up. Black Desire in a decent position. He's got that wingman, so he can take those long range fights with complete accuracy. But now he's running forward here on the Octane. He's got the R99. He's ready to take those close fights as well. Decent set of weapons there. Blind Peekers rotating through. They've had a quiet game so far, minus the start. And the point you made about Scare, I did not see that scrim you mentioned, but I completely believe it. This man has been an absolute beast in here every single game I watched him, Nintendo. So I don't doubt you, not even for a second.
Yeah, and it's actually a pretty big fight in terms of who's in this one. Our top 5 teams here in a big fight, Blind Peekers versus Innovated. And it seems like Innovated has the advantage over Blind Peekers. And as I say that, the Gutbuster comes out with those short rifle shots. It doesn't actually do much, as Innovated Sky is still in a really good position. They all have purple armor, so it's just the armor advantage that I think is winning them this fight. And they really need to work together as a team here. And Gutbuster with the Spitfire putting a lot of damage onto the Octane. The Gibraltar ulti comes down. He goes for the melee and he gets it through the shield. That's a pretty unfortunate situation there, and now the tides have turned, 2 knocked on each side, so now it's a 2v2, but the rest is available, I think, maybe, for the team of Peaky Blinders. And yes, they got the GB as well, so this is going to be huge for the fight.
Oh, they're back in it. Looks like Innovative put them under pressure, but Gasbuster came in so clutch, and now Aquatic getting decent hits off there. He's ready to jump in with the Octane. R99 is ready. They get the scan off. Oh, sorry, they get scanned out. Is there potential for third party here? I wonder. They're going to still trace very... Oh, look at that tracking. Absolutely sensational here with the R301. Scares Clutch, one of his most comfortable weapons. They get one down here. So it is a 2v3 fight at the minimum. And I don't think anybody else wants to come in through here. Not against the Blind Peakers. Looks sweaty for them for a moment, but at the end of the day, they clutch it out once again.
And as soon as you say that, just like in Olympus fashion, the third party has rocked up. And it's going to be Krokkenosters who are going to be looking to take this fight. They need the points, I suppose. Not really. They're sitting pretty comfortably in that top 10 position. But, hey, I mean, look, they still want to win this game. They still want to show what their skill is at. And Scare is just an animal with it. He's done so much damage onto the team, so they might opt to back off at this point. And a little bit of a bittersweet fight over there, Camille. You know, Blind Peakers versus Innovated. Both teams are top 5, top 10. You know, just trying to do their best. And, you know, if you're Innovated, you're looking back now after your 6 games like, damn, could have done better. But, I mean, look, they're probably in the semifinals. Can't beat yourself up too much about that. But as soon as I say that and beating up, it looks like Gutbuster's just being beaten up by a Spitfire. But Aquatic's going to drop down with the Eva 8. The shots are coming in as well as Scare from behind. He's going to come in with some crazy master shots, and that's the Krokkenosters out in the count as well. Blind Peakers just taking names at this point.
Man, oh man. If Scare ever, you don't see him in the fight, you bring down one, that's like, it's not even a victory at that point. It's like, okay, why did this happen? Why were we allowed to do that? And the answer is always the same, because Scare's coming, the boogeyman's coming, and he did that in excellent fashion there. And Krokkenosters, like you say, it is a bittersweet fight for them. They never really had to take it. They didn't want to be taking it against a team like the Blind Peakers. But at the end of the day, like you say, they're probably through at this point. So why not take that chance? Try and make that statement. If you bring down a team of the caliber of the Blind Peakers, teams are going to be fearing you coming into the next round, coming into the semifinals. So unfortunately, it didn't work out for them because, as expected, the Blind Peakers are just a little too good. Right now, we're heading over to our lobby leaders, DNMK, 5-0. They have not lost a single map throughout this group stage, and I don't see them losing one just yet unless a team does something crazy. But the Blind Peakers are still in it. Their main rivals are still there.
Yeah, definitely. We can't counter out Blind Peakers, who have picked up quite a lot of kills this game as well, more than DNMK if I'm not mistaken, and they're just fishing and just trying to get everybody out of this one, which is really good for them. The armor situation is also really good. They're coming off a good rotation. They've cleared their backs on this side of the map, and maybe you need to look out for 1 or 2 people.
Another.
Whew, damn. Okay, that was
He's got 6 kills by himself, Tendo. Scare is on an absolute tear right now. Red armor, like you say, he's in a great position this game.
Yeah, he's definitely been the man of the match so far, you know, but I mean, that also just depends if they actually end up winning. But for now, he's putting in a good campaign as we're tuning to NEOFLUX, who are just trying to rotate out of this fight, and they're a little bit in the zone here, and they just don't need to get caught out in an off position where they'll find themselves fighting in the zone. Really weird composition coming from them as well. You know, I wanted to highlight this earlier. I think they played the same comp in the last game. Watson and Octane and Bloodhound, pretty interesting to be honest with you, and now they've got themselves into a fight, and the shots aren't really connecting too much here, and this just might be a little bit scary. And it's Team Devs, we're trying to take this fight. They slide on in, the defensive bombardment goes down as well to try buy themselves a little bit more ground, and they're gonna try look into finish this fight at this point.
They should be able to win out. They're way ahead in terms of HP, but Bowen, he's gonna get brought down. He's in trouble. And now DNMK, they're here as well. They're here for the third party, doing what they do best, and they're just gonna probably get the clean sweep. Oh, Devs, they thought they had it, Tendo. But of course, our lobby leaders ain't gonna let a fight happen in their vicinity without them having a hand in it. And not just the hand in it, the complete. They took the whole cookie jar. Not just the hand in the cookie jar. They just took the whole thing.
The whole cookie jar, left nothing for the little brothers at the bottom. It's pretty unfortunate from NEOFLUX. They find themselves now off rotation, and this is what I was highlighting earlier in the beginning of the game. You see, Olympus, it's just so easy to get sucked into these points where teams just end up fighting. So you really need to be able to clean up your fights quickly. And speaking of cleaning up fights, it's now a big fight here because this should be DNMK versus Blind Peekers, and it's not looking so good for Blind Peekers as they just get absolutely rolled by DNMK. And it was them pulling up on DNMK, which is the worst part.
Man, oh man, every time this engagement happens, right, there's always the excuse for blind peekers, like, okay, DNMK had the high ground, DNMK had the better positioning, okay, they got third party. It was never a clean fight. But this time round, like you say, blind peekers, they got to choose the engagement. DNMK took that fight outside of zone against the devs. So you would think that they would have the advantage, but at the end of the day, these guys are the lobby leaders for a reason. Blind Peekers, they tried to put up a good fight, but at the end of the day, they just got steamrolled. DNMK, no competition really left in this lobby. They are all red armors. They are stacked up to the max, and they are on the hunt. They're going to be looking for teams in just a moment, and they might run into Trooper and the boys there coming down this hill.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate what happened there between Blind Peekers and DNMK. I mean, the gun skill of DNMK is just, you know, on another level. If you ever sit down and listen to their comms, you'll hear Artrilli. He's probably one of the best IGLs, I think, on the African continent right now, Artrilli. He just knows how to coordinate his team, and he knows exactly who to shoot. I mean, who to team fire at the right time. And you have to also remember, Clutches doesn't speak English. You know, he's got a little bit of English here and there, especially if you tune into his stream, you'll hear him, you know, speak a little bit of English, but he is Turkish. So imagine DNMK playing with a Turkish player who doesn't fully speak English and performing this well with such good synergy. You just have to give them props all the way through, I think. But now, not much of a competition left in this lobby, I think, right, Camille? Who's taking them out at this point?
None of them. I feel like we have to get a collusion, you know, to take out the biggest family. It's like the Yakuza in Japan, you know, all the other families have to come together to make the Mafia movie to be able to take them out at this point. But Darkest Night, they got the high ground in a decent position, but look at that aim from DNMK with R301, with that purple attachment for the magazine, sorry, for the scope. Long range engagement is just Tenchi's forte there. We'll see how it pans out here. Trudy looking to run up there. They want to put some pressure. Silverbeards also in the area. Everything's about to go down here. This is Olympus. There's nowhere to hide. Only places to fight. And they already bring down one team. The dark team gonna be eliminated here in just a second. And DNMK still looking healthy, not too under pressure. There's no even chance for a team to, you know, come in, try third party them when they're pressuring somebody else, because they're just not under pressure. It's just lambs to the slaughter at this point. But we see the sniper shots come out here from Gecko with the triple take. Farming a decent amount of damage, but going to have half his shield eliminated as well. DNMK looking to put some pressure there. They got the Spitfire, they got two R301s, they have so much long range weapons, so they're ready to take these fights from the high ground here.
Yeah, and Silverbeards just needs to be careful. They don't want DNMK right in their face. The best fight you can take against DNMK is that long-range fight, but as soon as they get in your face, just like as they're doing, it's pretty much game over. And that's exactly what's happening as the EVA 8 shots are just coming in clutch from clutch as he just manages to roll through everybody. And they're just cleaning up the entire lobby. 20 bomb this one. Camille, what do you think? You think this is it?
Yeah, I think they probably make it. We see 6 on 1 player already, so the odds are looking pretty good right now. But it was quite a fast lobby, so they might not. And look at this, NEOFLUX. They were the team getting pressured in zone earlier, and now we see, did he get the snipe there? He didn't actually get the full-on down. But because DNMK came to third party earlier, NEOFLUX is going to secure, Swin from NEOFLUX is going to secure a team a top 3 finish here in this lobby. Talk about ratting. This man is the biggest rat in the sewer right now.
And I mean, I think that's pretty big for NEOFLUX. I'm not too sure what position they were on the table, but I don't think they were sitting too high. So this might be a big game. This might be a semi-final qualifying game just off the solo efforts that don't last too long, as I truly snapped that out. I mean, DNMK has won this game now. I mean, they've also just taken out the opposite team of LTT. There's one person left who they're just going to drop on and take care of, and that's it. DNMK have just won this one once again. 6 out of 6, Camille. What is this? What do you mean?
No words. This is
No
just
words.
utter domination. And in this final game, it wasn't even like, this was the biggest statement of them all, because again, they got third party by the second best team in the lobby. Blind Peakers, they were there, they were waiting. They waited a fight that they wanted to take, and DNMK was like, did you really want to take this fight? Are you hunting me, or did you just step into the cage with the Tigers because they just wiped them out? The rest of the lobby, there was 5 teams left, and there was no doubt in our minds that they were just going to clean up the full suite. Esmery, did you enjoy that?
That was a good one. That was a good one. I mean, I was waiting for it and I was hoping for it. You know, maybe we might be seeing a little bit of contention for that number 1 spot. That is not the case. DNMK have taken a full sweep, a clean sweep of that Group A match. And now, I mean, they're already sitting pretty, but now they're really sitting pretty at that top spot right now. I don't know what the points are going to be looking like, but either way, man, I mean, I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. I mean, we had an opportunity there, Blind Peakers. They were looking so good. We had Scare just absolutely dominating there with the kills at one point, and they roll up on DNMK, and it just does not go their way. We also had a lot of teams fighting in the zone, and I mean, I think that's just. You mentioned it previously, that's just something about Olympus. You know, you find yourself in those weird situations, but what is not weird is the fact that we're seeing DNMK on your screens right now as your champions, 6 out of 6 in a row. Just absolutely masterclass coming through here from DNMK. And here is the question, Camille.
It's gonna happen.
Who will be your final MVP? Who's gonna be that final MVP?
He's gonna get it, right? 5 rounds in a row, his teammates has stolen the freaking MVP from him. But he's about to get it. He's like, I saved the best for the last lobby, and he's gonna do it. I'm betting on it. I'm hoping for it. I'm praying for it. Because like Tintin was saying, it's not just the 6 skill he offers, but it's an in-game leadership as well. And there it is! Hype!
There we go.
Hype!
Finally, we see the man, the myth, the legend, truly has made it to the MVP club. 7 kills and nearly 2k damage in their final match for Group A. Woo! That is a spicy way to finish off the first group. Can you believe it? And, you know, it only took 6 games in a row. It's fine. I think he showed up. I think he showed up. I think he showed up. I mean, I think he showed up. You know, it's difficult.
Definitely.
He's the IGL, and he's now showing up as the MVP. I mean, that's masterclass, if you ask me. Tendo, from you, what is the good moment? What is that iconic moment from that map that we just witnessed? That is the last map for Group A. So what is it?
Look, I don't think I'm going to point out anything iconic from DNMK. I think they just did what they had to do. I think for me, I'm really, really impressed by Blind Peakers. They took fight after fight after fight, and they just clutched it out. You know, there was that big moment with Gutbuster having to win that fight against one of the Octane players on the Innovated team. He has to hit, you know, him with a melee, and he gets that, and that just brings everything back for that entire team. He gets the golden backpack res, and I think that's probably my moment for the game. I kind of went crazy seeing that. That was really good. So really, really bright future, I think, for Blind Peakers. I think, you know, when we get into the semifinals and then eventually into the finals, the lobbies are going to be a little bit more balanced. And I think we're going to see teams like Blind Peakers who have that mechanical skill really show, you know, where they really stand on top of the lobby. I think just a little bit unfortunate, DNMK is just there as like slightly above, you know, better than them and just out-trumping them in certain, you know, gunfights. But I think, you know, when the rest of the lobby on a similar skill level is mixed in with them, I think we're going to start seeing a little bit more even fights between the two teams.
Potentially.
Potentially.
What is that moment that is really gonna, you know, just highlight the chef's kiss from Group A? But I'm gonna have to wait just a little bit until you can tell me that, because we have to head to that short break. I'm just teasing you just a little bit. It's fine. It's coming. It's okay. It's coming. For those of you watching, this is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. We're going to be going to a short break, but please stay with us because we still have all the matches from Group B now that are going to showcasing what they've got to get into that top 40. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome everyone to the Apex Legends African Throwdown. My name is Proxy and I'm joined by Camille Chikte and Thendo Plays. We are officially in the Group B stage of tonight for the Group B BO2. This is their last opportunity to get some points on the board, their last opportunity to get into that top 40. And of course, as you've seen so far, the competition is getting pretty stiff. It's getting pretty hectic. So Thendo, Camille, talk us through it. We're going to be looking at those Group A standings shortly. How was those two maps? How did Group A perform tonight?
Excellently, in my opinion. I feel like they really stepped up. There was a lot of questions we had around Group A and the performance from the third place after the top two. We knew the top two were good. There was no questions about it. But as we see, Royal Esports kept up their performance. Innovated Sky Gaming, they had the most kills in the lobby after Blind Peakers at DNMK, but they were down in the standings. They managed to get placement points and more kills this time around. So they were looking like a good lobby, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree, Tendo.
Yeah, I think it was really good, the two games. I think as much as DNMK was dominant, I think Blind Peakers really gave out a good fight. We saw a little bit of Innovated action. We saw a little bit of Royal Esports pop in and out. I think there's a good showing of the teams today in Group A, unlike that first week where it just seemed like the entire DNMK show. And I mean, look at NEOFLUX right now. They're sitting at 7th position. They've only managed to get 3 kills from this entire, 6 games. But I'm looking back at that top 3 position that probably netted them enough points to, retain this top 7 position. And they're probably into the semifinals weekend as well, just off that ratting. And it just goes to show that even though things are tough, never give up. You know what I mean? You just got to keep pushing forward. And I mean, look, 113 kills, guys. I don't even know how that's possible, to be honest with you. How have they done that?
What do you mean? Once again, they were slacking. They only had 19 kills in the last lobby instead of 20. Come on, David. Okay, come on. I'm teasing. Sensational performance from them. They dominated that last map. We said it in the broadcast. We said it afterwards, the last panel. They fought up against their rivals. We hyped up this Blind Peakers versus DNMK for all 6 lobbies. But when it came down to it, DNMK came out on top every single time. Every stretch of the way, they were the best team in the lobby by far. But like Tender was saying, Blind Peakers again showed great promise in terms of how they played overall. The way they went in for kills, the way Scare just absolutely clutched out moments, and it's just been an absolute terror across the map. Maybe one of the most scary individuals across the board in this tournament. And of course, that Gustbuster clutch. Like they're really playing off one another really well. It's just they're going to be that thorn in the side once the semifinals comes. It doesn't matter if you're DNMK, ATK, Elite Gaming. If you're going to run into Blind Peakers early on, you don't know if you're going to be making it to the end of the lobby. That's what I feel.
Either way, we have finished Group A. This is the last that we're going to be seeing Group A because, of course, we're heading to that top 40. Now, for those of you watching, just a little bit of a reminder, it's going to be the top 40 across all 3 groups. So it doesn't matter if they get top 10 in this group, if they get top 10 in the other group. It has to be across all groups. So these teams tonight really have the last chance, not only to get to the top of their own group, but to get to that top 40 spot, to have an opportunity to be playing for that prize pool. And of course, if you're here, you want to get some of that money. You want to get some of that sweet prize. So looking at that, we do have the standings currently for Group B, and we can talk a little bit about that. Of course, we've got ATK there at the top. They put on a absolute stellar performance. Camille, Thendo, talk me through it. How were those first couple of matches for Group B?
So, from what I can remember, how everything went down, I think this group was pretty balanced, in my opinion. Yes, ATK were looking at them like, okay, Tendo, what are you talking about? They have 70 kills, 150 points. Yes, but if you were watching the games, you will see that Underrated was, causing a little bit of trouble. OGC was there causing some trouble. Revert, Caustic caused some trouble. I'm looking at this group, and although the points don't really reflect it, I think in terms of comparing Group A to B, I think this group has a lot of hard hitter squads that we're going to see ultimately in those semifinals and potentially in those finals. Looking at Fractus Gaming, they gave out a really good performance as well. So I think these are going to be really exciting games in this group. My question right here, Camille, do you think it's possible? DNMK has done it 6 back-to-backs. Is ATK going to do it?
The pressure is on. The standard has been set by DNMK. The only match they sweated in throughout the entirety of Group A was in their first match where they had one teammate down. They won the game though, 2v3, and the rest has just been pure domination. So ATK have to keep up to that standard that DNMK have set, and I do believe they can do it. If they don't, I feel like it would be an upset, it would be a misplay, it would be some crazy thing that went down to prevent them from having that perfect sweep as well.
I mean, there's potential. There's always potential. We've got a couple of great teams in the mix. But yeah, I mean, after what I've seen from DNMK, I'm definitely looking to the top leader of Group B, of course, being ATK, to see how they're going to be going for it. Are they going to be going for the 6x6 sweep? Is it going to happen? Are we going to have another contention for MVPs once again? Or will we be having a bit of a wrench in the works? Either way, Thendo, Camille, we're going on to Kings Canyon, of course, the beloved Kings Canyon. We love it so much. It's not Olympus, that's why we love it so much. But tell me, Kings Canyon, do you still think that the team should be playing passive? Do you still think that they should be taking that slower pace game for tonight?
Look, I think since it's the first game of the night, I mean, look, you've had 4 games already. You know everybody's play style, but you don't know at what tempo everybody's entering today's game in, right? One thing I noticed in the first group was the tempo was really slow to begin. You know, we didn't really have all the teams rushing at each other just yet until maybe mid game. So I'm sure we'll see similar, thought process in Group B, where everyone's just gonna just suss each other out to start off with. And yeah, I mean, we want to see the back-to-back sweep of ATK today in this best of 2. But like I said, there's some good teams here still that if they get themselves in the right position, third-party ATK, there's not much they can really do when you get third-party. So maybe we see an upset today. Maybe we see an underrated victory, OGC victory. Maybe, hey, Revert Caustic, the streamer team, pulls it out as well.
Well, either way, we do have some standings ready after those Group A matches, so we can see what Group B has to fight against. How far did they have to climb this ladder to get into a possible top 40 position here? And I mean, there's no surprise really that we're seeing a couple of those teams that you've mentioned before, but I am seeing a bit of a change coming through after those first matches. And for the Group B players now, they're going to see that their positions shifted just a little bit, and now they have to climb back to get to where they need to go.
Most definitely, they have a lot of points to catch up on, but they do have these 2 maps to play. We saw in the past, like Tendo was mentioning, Group B has a lot of good teams. You see your Innovated Crimson, your OGCs, underrated. I would love to see them pull off a victory because they played some sensational Apex Legends in their Group B showing in the past. But ATK, I don't think, like obviously we know they're the favorites to get the clean sweep, but I am the underdog supporter. I don't want to see these Giants just wreck kids. I want to see the guys rise up and be like, no, we ain't standing for this anymore, and we're going to put a spanner in your works. But like you say, the overall standings is affected a lot by these last 2 group stage matches, and I think these are super important. It's like that extra last chance qualifier for people just to get into the main event. I think they should be a certain level of comfort that the Group B team should be able to make it through after these next 2 lobbies. The top teams, especially in the top 10, I think they were all very good teams. But you never know what happens in Apex Legends. It's just 2 maps. It's 2 maps, one on Kings Canyon, one on Olympus. It's not like even the warm-up really counts from one map to another. So if they have a couple of bad placements, you never know what could happen. They could just find themselves in the lower spots in the qualifying standings.
So obviously it's those bottom 20 that have a little bit of pressure on their side right now, especially your bottom 5. Well, any sort of bottom at this point, because now this is where the change is going to come in. We're just going into those Group 5 maps, and of course those points are going to flow in. The standings are going to change drastically, and then once again tomorrow night another group is going to be coming through. So your bottom 20 have a little bit of something to sweat about. Your bottom 5 have a lot to sweat about right now, because the points that are coming through so far have been drastic. They've been crazy points coming in, and I think, you know, we've got the Outlaws, we've got 69, RV and J, Spartans and Charge Rifle Charlies, obviously from various amounts of groups. They have to be worried a little bit. They have to really wonder what's going to be happening after these couple of maps. So, I mean, top 20 should be all right. We should be still seeing them shortly after, unless something crazy happens. But then, of course, we would be talking about potentially the upset coming through. Either way, though, I don't know. Is there anyone here that you think has what it takes? They don't even need to sweat. They've got it. Bottom 20, top 20. They don't need to worry from Group B.
I'm not sure if they have what it takes, but all I beg for, Outlaws GG, if you're watching the stream, please make it through tomorrow in Group C. Otherwise, Dr. Sid is just going to be heartbroken. He's been repping for you guys through and through, man.
Yeah, no, it's really tough because at this point, especially if you're coming off watching the Group A final games, the tables have shifted, and now those positions are locked in. You're coming in as a Group B team, and it's tough because now I'd say for you to be really safe, you need to be sitting at the end of these last two games with about 40 points. I think 40 points, you're probably kind of comfortable. Unless something crazy happens tomorrow for Group C's games. I don't know. Could be crazy. That group was pretty exciting, I think. So, yeah, Group B, you really need to lock things down. Try get more than 40 points overall, and you're probably going to be sitting pretty comfortably, I think.
I think so too. We've got some crazy players, we've got some crazy teams and some insane players tonight for Group B as well to showcase what they've got. But for now, I'm going to leave it in your capable hands to take us play by play. It's Thendo Plays and Camille Ticte to take you through for the Apex Legends African Throwdown, everybody. We've got Kings Canyon. It's going to be good. It's going to be spicy. Let's see how this turns out.
Hype, let's get into the Group B action. This is ATK's group. They have dominated so far. They've got those 4 wins on the trot, but we are hoping and praying that some teams can show them up a little bit, you know, show that these gods can bleed too, you know, Tendo.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm kind of just hoping for something crazy to start off this game, you know, give us a little bit of an excitement, you know, for our viewers over there at home. And I mean, you know what, shout out to everybody that's here watching the African Throwdown. Really appreciate it. A shout out to NODWIN for organizing. And, you know, let's shout out the observers, you know, the production team as well. We never really give them a shout out, you know, myself, Camille, we're here casting, you guys hear us all the time, but you don't get to see the behind the scenes. So a lot has gone in to make this production, and so far I'm having a stellar time. And you know what, let's see, I'm banking Underrated's winning this game, Camille. That's my bet. I don't think ATK wins this game. I think it's Underrated's game.
I'm so hyped about it because we saw so many moments of brilliance for them throughout that Group B when we were casting them last week, Tendo. So this could be their time to shine. They've had a lot of time to go back, prepare, look over these games, watch over their VODs, see where they went wrong, what they can improve on, which we saw all the teams in Group A do. So this time, this could be their time to level up. This could be going from Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2, you know. This is the hype.
It definitely is the hype, and we are starting things off here in Kings Canyon, as we're in with Fractus Gaming, who are also, you know, a bit of a mover and shaker in this lobby. They've got some good mechanics. They know the game pretty well, as they do play quite often, and I think they just get into tough situations where ultimately they just are on the back foot, and that's pretty much what happens in most of these fights. But looking at the map distribution, really good. Most teams have found a bit of a home, and it doesn't seem like we're gonna see too many early contestants. Lag here is in the map room, and I'm sure they're gonna get that scan so that they'll be able to see exactly where all the teams are gonna be and plot out their rotation. And ATK landing in the same place they landed before. And if you notice, ATK and DNMK actually land in the same spot. I wonder what it is about Crash Site. Why, you know, these teams have chosen to land at Crash Site.
Well, even more interesting, Nintendo, do you think when we get to the semifinals or even the finals, when they're playing in the same group together, will they employ the same tactics if they both know this is their comfortable spot? Because that'll be our top 2 teams in the lobby fighting against each other from the get-go. So I wonder what adjustments could be made. Which is going to be the team to back down from the area, most importantly?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, actually, considering they've played all their games from this position. So the one thing about Apex Legends is once you have a drop spot, you've got all your rotations kind of keyed in for every single zone, south, west, you know, and you know exactly which way you're going to go. So to shake things up like that and maybe see that happen could be interesting, but I don't think it'll happen. I think both DNMK and ATK know that that wouldn't really be, you know, the best, you know. But enough of DNMK. Their group is done. We're in this group. Fractus Gaming, looting airbase. They've, I think, done a good job so far, looking at just like what guns they have, Volt and Spitfire. And I think Volt is being pretty slept on in these in this African Throwdown. I haven't seen too much Volt action. I think we've seen a lot of Spitfires, we've seen a lot of R301s, Mastiffs, EVA 8s, and we haven't seen much Volts.
Yeah, I see a lot of the pros and content creators rate the Vault very highly. They say it's the best energy gun, especially with a lot of the attachments and stuff. So One of these, also a very balanced gun, probably like the energy equivalent of the R301, if I may say, where it's good from a lot of ranges. You know, it's one of the best SMGs out there. But this lobby is a very small lobby to start things off, Tendo, because we only have 12 teams landing in so far. So it's kind of maybe a disadvantage for the top teams in the lobby because there's less people to kill. But for the other guys who will play a bit more passively, they already got an advantage in terms of placement points. So Group B kind of got interesting situation in that sense. And we've seen a very quiet lobby so far, but maybe because, again, we have very little teams in here.
Yeah, and that's often what happens when there is a few teams in the lobby. It'll be pretty slow. But I mean, it's good. This gives you time to get your bearings, gives you time to work out your rotations. You start to calculate where certain teams are probably rotating, and now it's really time to go back and remember where people were rotating in those previous games, because you don't want to find yourself running into underrated ATK, Fractus, these really hard-hitting teams, OGC, off their rotation, because then you just scuff your game. And speaking of a team, underrated seems to be putting some names down. Bradley is taking a knock on to one of the people in the kill feed there that I do get a chance to see, and ATK just controlling their area, making sure they've got all the loot that they need.
Looks like they get another one. Their Fortune FPS going to bring down Nautica there. So this is what we expected from underrated today. They were playing aggressively. They were getting a lot of kills, and this is what we wanted to see, right? Just them showing up for this game. Tendo said it. He's hyping them up to take down the top dogs in this lobby, to bring down ATK this game. Let's see how it pans out. They haven't completely eliminated that squad. There's still one player remaining. So still got 12 teams total. And it's a bit early, so if they can get reses and stuff, it would be okay. The banner can eventually be recovered. And where did the zone pull to here? Didn't get a chance to look at the map. But Royal Esports, they look to be in a tussle as well. Limit, pretty low HP, gonna have to, low on the armor. Gonna have the battery back up. See some ding damage coming out there.
Yeah, and Royal Esports is doing well to just control this high ground and just scout out where everybody is, and ultimately they should be trying to plot out a rotation. But it looks like Fractus and 69 Gaming have gotten themselves into a bit of a skerfuffle here on their rotation, and ATK is actually also involved in this. And I was about to highlight that I saw Fractus running in this direction, and from memory, yes, ATK was in that area, and I'm sure they've heard a lot of these fights, ATK, but ATK not opting to really get involved there. I think they just want Fractus and 69 to take this fight together and knock each other out here.
We'll see. Is they all towing the fine line, not trying to... Nobody wants to be the team to get third-partied on here, but 69 do have the piece of the hunt active. They're going to be scanning all around. They have a decent position here. So we might see all teams take the more passive approach. But 69, they are going to be on the run. CRC finding himself in engagement as well. Decent damage here. I will rise. Going to get knocked. And we see Masse doing lots of damage here on the raid. Putting the R99 to phenomenal use. 69 Gaming, this might be their chance. They're going to get back in this fight. They've got the long range shots coming on R301. Decent amount of damage, but no cracks just yet. Actually going on all around the map, but Okami, his shield going to be completely broken. He's going to start bleeding on. He gets knocked down. So he's not in a decent position. CRC do manage to win their fight on the opposite side of the map, though.
And things just exploded in this lobby. Looking at that kill feed, ATK is getting some kills as well. They're cleaning things up on that side of the map.
But ATK are getting third-partied. Why so got brought down there?
Oh, this might be it.
Alright, everything's going down. Fractus there on the hunt as well. Look at this damage coming from Logic. It's insane, but he's going to take a lot here. He's going to get dropped down. Did he bring down one as well? No, Chambi, he's still alive. He's going strong. We see Waiso completely brought down. He needs banner, needs to be recovered. Cam, Chambi, and the boys do it. Fractus, he's in trouble. Sorry, Fractus Gaming, the old guy in trouble. ATK, they still standing strong. They 2 down here, but they still very healthy on both their players. The Streaker only has white armor, though. Chambi does get the respawn card. Can they make it to the beacon to res? I'm sure teams will be knowing they're going to be trying to rotate there, and Fractus as well. It's just GZ alive at this point.
Yeah, that was unfortunate third-party timing, I suppose, you know. It almost looked really good for Fractus as they pulled into that fight. 69, I think, was versing ATK. ATK cleaned them up really fast, but then the knock comes through onto Waiso, and it almost looks like ATK is going to go down, but just not yet. And now GZ's all left alone, and he's gonna have to just try get some placements for his team to, you know, keep their points up in this one. And Royal Esports is just now prodding here, and they might just take GZ out of this one, which is a little bit shaky. ATK thought they were gonna go out there, Camille. Waiso's down. Sure, they'll get the res. That could have been something.
That would have been so crazy, especially this early in the lobby, because technically the first fights breaking out, because we were 12 teams and then we immediately went to 8 teams. And it was a decent attempt there by Fractus Gaming, but at the end, we see the experience that teams like DNMK and ATK show when they're in these situations. Even down 2 versus 3, the players do have the composure and the skill to clutch out those situations.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't necessarily them completely killing Fractus, but now look what is happening. ATK is back. They're looking for kills once again, and they've managed to take out one of the members of Royal Esports. You can see Wiso's back in. He just got res. He's going to have to try to scramble for whatever loot he can and just get back into the fight. Now we're tuning to
MaFisi. Are they going to try fight up against ATK here?
I'm not sure if ATK is actually on this side. I think this might be flipped onto the opposite side of the map, but the defensive bombardment does go down. And that's just going to buy the team of MaFisi a little bit of time here. Heal up, get their bearings, and plot out their next rotation. They're panicking just a little bit too much here, I think, Camille. They need to just calm down and really focus.
Yeah, they do seem to be in a very rough position. How are they going to be pressured? They're on the run, trying to make their way out of the zone right now, but it's not looking good for them. Yeah, getting chased all the way back out of zone. In a rough position, Rossman should get the full battery off, but his teammates not sitting too healthy. They're getting off their kits and such. Like you said, they did panic. They had the jib bubble down. They had a chance to heal up there and maybe take the fight, but they should be able to make it out of this. How are they going to get punished once they enter zone though? There might be teams waiting for them on the flip side.
Yeah, and I'm immediately thinking of Revert Caustic because I haven't seen them. I haven't seen OGC as well. So I'm wondering where they're sitting. And I think they're playing really well in terms of just like, you know, holding out on taking too many fights. I think those teams are playing for that end game win and they're just slowing things down. We do see, of course, ATK is going to look to get as many kills as they can. You know, they have to as this kind of team. And now we tune in, and that was actually underrated that was holding out the team there. Is Revert Caustic, who, look, it's like I can predict the future, right? Look, they're on that opposite side. Caramel just gets instantly beamed by Cheetah Boy, though.
You cursed them. You cursed them, Tendo.
Oh,
Caramel
no,
gonna get knocked. Now they're in trouble. Which team knocked them down? I didn't actually see. Caramel gonna be completely brought down there. Oh, it's Fortune FPS.
Definitely not the first one to pass through.
Yeah, it's back against the wall situation here for Revert Caustic, who are looking so good to third party the team that was coming out of zone, but now underrated. Is just going to dominate them in this fight. And Cinder's a good rat, I'll be honest with you. I think if Cinder doesn't go back for these banners, I don't think it's a wise decision. He'll be able to try rat it out, get them some extra points. Revert Caustic is one of those teams that, look, we want to see a good performance for them, but they just need 40 points today. 40 points, get your top 40 placement, bounce back for the semifinals. I think they've had a couple of rough games from what we've seen in this group, just given their opponents, but yeah, I mean, a little bit of team practice will probably whip them into shape, and Underrated just going to pull out from this fight, get a little bit of high ground here, and just reposition themselves.
They've looked very good so far in this lobby, as expected. I mean, they are the second place team here in Group B, but this game specifically, I'm feeling something in the air, Tendo. I'm feeling something in the air. Underrated, looking to take a small skirmish here. Not sure who they're engaging with. The pings did come out. They are in this position. They've healed up now. Almost to full there on Bradley.
Yeah, and they're just doing so well. They're not getting involved in this area. They're like, boys, look, we've kind of overstayed our welcome. Let's get out of this one. They're just trying to play on the edge. Maybe still look for a couple of picks, but ATK is in the area, so they really need to be careful. So they're just going to opt to go to the zone. And this is them playing for the win in this situation, not really looking to get too many kills. We still got 8 teams in this one, so Cinder is still alive, ratting things out as well as he can. Will they find him anytime soon? That is the question, but as soon as Underrated turns this corner, it seems that they've got themselves into a fight. Bradley takes a lot of damage. The dome has to get popped as these punches are being made by Cheetah Boy. Out there one doing a lot of damage.
Excellent aim. Very clutch there. Keeps his team safe with the bubble and a couple of good shots there. Let's see how this engagement goes down now. Bubble is down. Doesn't have the defensive bombardment ready as well. Hostiles are scanned out. It's only 3 hostiles in the area. So no, doesn't look like they're going to get third partied for the moment. And they're going to get the jump pad to make that sweet escape.
Underrated. They're just impressing me with knowing when and when not to take fights right now. You know, they're really just trying to survive as long as they can, because the problem is, especially the way the zone is pulling in with a lot of these choke points and pulling them into this valley, the moment you get into a fight, everybody knows you're in a fight. Everybody's going for that fight to third party it. So they're just trying to avoid as many fights as they can, rather play a good position in zone and guarantee themselves a top placement than rather taking these fights. But you go on the contrast, ATK don't really care about that right now. They know they've got the gunning skills to kind of take a lot of fights, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're also playing edge of the zone, so they shouldn't really be too worried about who's behind them.
They're looking good right now. They're going to put this team under pressure. They might be able to eliminate Royal Esports here. That is their intention at the very least. They're going to drop down the bombardment. MaFisi here in the building trying to hold, but they are under immense pressure right now from the top dogs here in the lobby. Let's see what they do. Can they clutch anything out? They're in a very rough position. They do have the Caustic here in the building, so it's going to be very hard for any team to try to rush in there and pressure them.
And around the map, Underrated have found a really good pick here on a team that's just rotating on the zone, and this is the kind of fights that they want. No one's next to them. They know they can pick this team off real quick and reset with enough time. I mean, ATK is also involved in that fight, so this is a really good shout for them. They're gonna just try chase this down and get this one player out for the count, but there does seem to be a lot of people in that valley and they don't want to poke too much just yet, so they're gonna back off and go back and maybe just get whatever loot they can from that kill that they confirmed.
A very methodical game from Underrated, as you pointed out. They're not taking any engagements that are not favorable to them. They're controlling the zone well. They're not taking any risks. Like you say, they're playing to win, not taking any chances, and I love to see it. And ATK is still in a very good position, holding the edge of the zone very nicely. They're gonna be, looks like they're gonna rotate up this high ground here.
Yeah, ATK is in a bit of an awkward spot. So one thing about King's Canyon, I'm sure you can notice that, is the caves, right? The caves create these choke points, and ATK is in one of those choke points, and there is a team next to them. So if they're not careful here, but this team is sleeping, they're not really checking this angle, so ATK might just be able to get a beam and enter into the next zone. But if things are not gonna if things don't go their way here, ATK is just gonna get gate capped. But they do have the opposite side to rotate, and yeah, exactly what I thought would happen. The call's been, you know, sent out to the team. Guys, we don't need to go this way. Let's go the opposite side. We still have a chance to get into the zone.
Alright, that's great for them. We do see the Streaker does have the Kraber now. Doesn't have a lot of ammo in it, but just those 4 shots alone will be more than enough. And talking about the Kraber and the man himself, of course he does it. Time and time again, this man with the snipers is basically a cheat code at this point. He is unstoppable.
What was the thinking of MaFisi there? Why would they just not go through that point? I think what they wanted to do was they thought ATK was still in that choke. They wanted to be that sneaky team to go from behind, and didn't really work out in their favor as ATK had backed off, opting for that opposite rotation. But enough of that. It seems like a big fight is happening here. Defensive bombardment is going down, and Underrated is just trying to pull in to hold the zone here. And just the rotations from Underrated today are actually better than ATK's, honestly speaking, man. I know ATK is the professional team in this lobby, but Underrated are just showing that they're underrated, you know, and the way they're playing.
You'd love to see it. And why so? He's okay for now. Like you say, the zone is very far for ATK to rotate to. They will be able to get there. Should be okay, but Underrated are in prime position to win this. And they found themselves a drop weapon themselves. The legendary weapon, the Prowler. Recently added to the legendary, I think it's season 8. ATK do have the Spitfire. I don't know if they're still holding on to the Kraber and the Streaker. They have a lot of long-range capabilities. And you see Royal Esports, despite being 2 players in this lobby for the majority of it, are still in it. So, looking to make themselves get that top 5 finish. Zone's about to close. Action probably going to go down now. Royal Esports going to be coming down. See a jet bubble pop. Can they get a kill here? Bradley brings on Cinder, so the one rat is taken out.
Yeah, I did say Cinder was good at ratting. I mean, he made top 6 after they were maybe sitting at like top 9. Not too bad. Couple of placement points for them. Royal Esports though need to be careful here because in front of them is Underrated, and Underrated are just coordinated right now in winning these fights. Underrated need to be a little bit careful though, because I think ATK might be able to come from behind them if I'm not mistaken. I'm not too sure where ATK might have rotated just yet, but there's going to be a defensive bombardment from Royal Esports that goes down. The dome is popped by Cheetah Boy. They're sitting comfortably, not too stressed. They just want to gatekeep these kills, but still worrying from behind it. That's exactly what I thought would happen.
Oh man, the worst case scenario for Underrated is there. Bradley is down, but look at the damage coming out. Pretty decent. Can they catch up the spot? He's looking decent. So Cheetah Boy brings down one. So it's going to be a 2-on-2 here. Can ATK get the heal here? It's looking like it so far. Bradley, he might get healed up as well. But ATK under so much pressure. Wiseau's completely cracked. Chambi about to be cracked. The Speaker, he gets wiped out. The Prowler being put to absolute use here. Cheetah Boy gonna get stunned up there for a moment, but he's still okay. He's gonna be playing by himself, but he's gonna get brought down in the end. ATK just to clutch. Oh, did Lag coming for a third party? You know, Lag are in the area, so they could come in through. There could be both the top teams taken out here soon, Tendo.
And you would... I was about to say you're never gonna expect it, but ATK might lose this, but that Kraber shot from Chambi pulls things back for them, and now it's a 2v2 unless they're able to get that res. Gus is gonna be out of this fight, so now it's all up to Wiseau and Chambi to clutch this one out, but we know the two of them can do this. They just need to play their cards right. I think the res might have been popped off already, yes, on Lag. So Lag now with the man advantage in this fight. Is this gonna be a Lag victory? A team we never would have expected to pull out a win, especially against ATK, or is Chambi and Wiseau about to show us exactly why they're one of the best teams in Africa?
We saw DNMK pull a stunt like this in the past. 2v3 they won. They beat Krokkenosters in their first opening night match. Can Lag? Are Lag gonna make the same mistakes, or are they gonna punish one of the best Apex Legends team in Africa? We are about to find out. Chambi and Wiseau, the two best players to be put in this position to do so. Can they make up for their teammates? Like the Speaker is down. Can Lag punish them here? Zone's about to close in as well. So the fight is bound to happen. Spells are on cooldown here for both teams. No ultimates available. We'll see. ATK just dodged the scan there. Very, very lucky.
The one thing that's giving ATK the advantage here is Chambi with that Kraber. And if you sit and watch any of Chambi's streams, you know he should just be called ATK Kraber, I think, because he hits those shots all the time. So it's a waiting game here. ATK essentially need to get a knock, and then they'll put perspective into a 2v2 for them. And or Lag just needs to get one knock onto ATK, and then I mean they just need to full send it from that point. But look at that, there's a lot of damage coming from ATK here. They got to be really careful. Right now Lag does not want to get Kraber. They do not need one of their players going down. 45 seconds until that zone 6 closes in, and you know I haven't really seen many zone 6s in these African throwdowns, so this is really interesting to see, Camille. I'm not too sure if you know how this zone 6 mechanics work, do you?
He's tracking. Oh no, I'm not 100% sure. It's not. We haven't seen that just yet. I haven't had enough experience to see how crazy Zone 6 is. But what's about to go down, Tendo?
So with Zone 6, they made a change recently where instead of it being one final zone that like insta closes, it slow closes. So what's gonna happen here is the zone is slowly gonna close, and it actually works in the favor of Lag, who are holding the center of the zone, because ATK need to come from that choke point, and essentially they're just gonna get funneled at this point unless Chambi hits the greatest Kraber shot of his life or Wiseau gets the greatest beam. This just might be wraps for our leaders of this group.
We've seen crazy things happen in this tournament so far. We saw the Vias winning by himself. We've seen DNMK winning the 2v3 in the final battle. Can ATK pull one of these stunts? It looks like Lag is playing the tactical game. They have that advantage in that sense with the zone closing. Pressure is on. This could be the do or die moment here for ATK. Zone getting smaller and smaller by the second. Lag in perfect position right now. All the ulti should be available for them as well. The defensive bombardment will be there. It could come in very clutch in this situation.
So it's a waiting game. The zone is closing in. ATK back against the wall, and it's all about to go down. Nai is waiting to get as much damage as he can, and Chambi needs to just get the craziest Kraber shot of his life here, as Wiseau has to drop down and get a little bit of cover in a nook in the cranny. It's gonna go right down to the wire here. Wiseau's so exposed. The dome drops. They're not really exposing themselves. They need to get into the zone. What is happening with Lag here? ATK now are on the high ground, and they've actually got the advantage with the way the zone is playing. The defensive bombardment goes down. Lag do have that bubble though, so they're not going to be too affected. They're all stacked on top of each other. The Prowler shots are flying, and here it goes, the final fight here, as the players keep in. ATK trying to do as much as they can, and it's all up to Champi, and it doesn't happen. Lag win out the 5th game in this group. We never would have expected Lag to be that team to win the game, and they've just taken ATK out.
This is why Apex Legends is one of the best competitive titles on the market, because crazy things can happen. Lag, we underrated them. We didn't hype them up at all, and look at what they did. They took out the champions. ATK's first loss of the entirety of the group stage. Phenomenal stuff. They held the advantage. They played the patient game, and in the end, they clutched it out, Esmery.
I'm still in shock right now. I'm sorry, but that is insane. So we were asking the question, we were waiting for it, and we've got a new champion of Group B. We've got Lag, your champions for the 5th match, and I am in shock. I mean, in that situation, Thendo, take me through that. I mean, you're in the middle of a valley, you've got the zone behind you, you've got 3 members waiting for you, they know exactly where you're coming from, you've got 3 shots in the crowd. What do you do? What do you do in that situation? You just have to go for the fight.
I mean, yeah, man, I think ATK needed to take that fight a lot earlier, try get an early knock, and then try play it from there. They just... the timing, I think, you know, the defensive bombardment from YSO didn't do much. The dome was there, and there was just nothing they could have done. Maybe Chambi with a Kraber shot could have pulled it back as well, but I think as soon as they lose dust in that early fight with Underrated, where all those skirmishes were happening, it's just wraps. And I think the zone also just wasn't really favoring them from where they were in that position. So unfortunate.
Well, here we are. Your champions of map number 5 for the group stage for Group B is Lag, and we have a question mark now. Who's going to be that MVP? Who's going to be that #1 player from this 5th map? I mean, I am blown away right now by this. In all honesty, like, what is the question at this point? Camille, what are your thoughts here, man? Like, I'm lost.
I don't know how we do this, right? I don't know the complete mechanics behind our MVP things, but I'm pretty sure Chambi still gets the MVP. He got a lot of clutch shots off. His damage was probably the highest in the lobby, but I'm wrong. Savita, 1,000 damage, 5 kills. He clutched it out, and Lag, what a performance from them. What a performance. They played the great waiting game. They rotated around zones well, and if you think about it, and when it came to the crunch time, when we got to the end game, they third-partied at exactly the perfect time. They got both Underrated in a weird position. They got ATK in a weird position. They took these favorable fights, and credit to Savitar and the team. They did what they needed to do. They dethroned the top dogs in this first map in the best of 2 for tonight.
This is insane. I mean, Endo, do you have anything to add there? I mean, of course, you know, we're talking about a battle royale. We're talking about RNG. We're talking about that 50-50 chance of being in a position that's really just not going to favor you there. But I feel like you mentioned it a little bit. As soon as that steam was lost, as soon as one player was dropped from ATK, they were left in a 2v3 situation. They were left on the outskirts of the zone, and now they were getting pressure from 2 sides. I mean, there's a choke point, and then there's luck, and then there's just what we just saw. I mean, it just all came to place, all fell in place there for Lag.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was the zone, I think. Definitely the zone really played in the favor of Lag. And I think a lot of the teams there, because I think Underrated was playing really well to get that early rotation, to get to the right spot. But because they were playing early and the rest of the teams weren't really doing that, everybody just kind of flooded the zone at once, and then all those fights broke loose. And I mean, ultimately, that's also what ends up, you know, throwing ATK's game as well. If ATK maybe had gotten there a little bit earlier, cleaned up Underrated, they would have just reset in that position. And odds are they probably win the fight against Lag. And yeah, man, I think Lag just came out of nowhere, just played it slow, did what they had to do. They knew, like, look, we might not win all these fights, but we can win the game just by playing our game and getting, you know, that final win. And I think, you know, shout out to Lag.
Congratulations to Lag indeed. They played it calm, collected. It was beautiful to watch. But for now, we're going to have to wait just a little while longer while we go to a short break. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown, and you never know what is waiting for you around the corner. So please stay with us. We still got another map for Group B. They still have another chance, and we still have another opportunity to see apparently some wildcards throwing into the pool. We'll be right back. Welcome, everyone. We are on the last map of the day 4 of the group stages. For tonight, it's the last opportunity for Group B to get some points up there, to get the standings in their favor. And we've just had a little bit of an upset. We've just had a little bit of an interesting wrench in the circuits, really. So Lag came out on top. A team that literally came out of nowhere. I don't think we've mentioned Lag whatsoever. Camille, talk me through it. What happened?
So my only prior knowledge of Lag, having casted 4 maps of them on Group B last week with Mr. Tendo plays here, is I saw one of their players had the nickname Nai, and I found that very funny. That's all my recollection of them. But this time around on the 5th map, Esmery, they put their names in stone. They showed us who they are. They put some respect on themselves because they clutched it out against ATK Arena, the top dogs in this group, maybe in this entire event. They are threats, and they were brought down. So I did say I want to see the underdogs rise up and show the big boys who's boss. And they did. They saw the ATK got a sweat. They have something to prove now in the lobby. Like, damn, DNMK did 6 and 6. Now we can't do that anymore. But are we going to make it 4 out of 6? Or are we going to make it 5 out of 6? So there's lots of questions around them in the next game. But I just want to, again, like we gave credit to Group A for improving over the series of, last week's broadcast to this week's broadcast. Same goes out to Group B. A lot of the teams played well, mainly underrated. Like Tendo was pointing out, they good rotations. We see third partying. All teams were very active, waiting for their slither of opportunity to get in on the third parties. There was no passive play. Every team went in with a clear example, plan of what they wanted to do, and they all executed to a fairly decent standard as well. So I was really impressed with that game. I was hyped. I can't wait to see what we see in map number 2, final map of the evening.
So the question is now, with that bit of an upset, how did the standings change? Where are the teams sitting, and where are we going to be seeing the Group B teams working with in their second map? I mean, we've got Lag heading up there, we've got ATK already up there, we've got a couple of other teams, and now here we go, Lag in 4th position right now. Man!
You know what is crazy about that win from Lag? It's just that before this, they clearly only had, 12 placement points? Don't know how many kills they racked up in that game. Because of that one win, they just sitting on 32 placement points. That's actually insane, And it just goes to show that it's really about winning the games at the end of the day. As much as, yes, let's farm kills, let's put on a show, etc., etc., winning games gets you top 5s. And that's clearly Lag right now. And if I'm Lag, another slow game. Calm it down. We don't need to be crazy. We don't need to be doing stuff that we're not used to. Let's just, try finish this one on a positive note. And let's not take anything away from ATK. I have to just commend ATK. They were on the back foot that entire game, I think. We saw them outside of runoff, taking early fights, getting knocked down. They had to res wise. So they were really on the back foot. And I think they really did the most they really could have out of that game based on the position that they were in. And honestly, yes, I wanted Underrated to win last game, but this is ATK's game. This one, game 6. I'm 100% sure about that.
We've got one more game. We've got one more map. So there's opportunities. I mean, we've already had an upset tonight. We've already seen the power and the fear that RNG brings into Apex. So there's obviously some opportunities. And now the question goes to Olympus. How is Olympus now going to affect these teams? Because you've just finished a good game on Kings Canyon, a map that we all know and we love. But now you're heading to Olympus. Now the question comes in, are we going to see another bit of a chokehold happening? Are we going to see teams out in the zone, out stuck in the middle of nowhere, taking fights that they really should not be? Or are we going to see the same old ATK rolling over, or perhaps Underrated are going to come up and take a win for their own? But for now, I'm going to leave it in your hands, guys. You've got this. Let's see how this last map of the evening is going to be panning out. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown, hosted by NODWIN Gaming Africa, and you guys are in the capable hands of Tendo Plays and Camille Chite. Take it away.
The final game of the evening. Esmery said it. I know all these teams. They're ready to fight for their lives in this tournament. If you're the last place team, you don't care. Because Lag showed you, get that one first place victory, get that high placement, you are back in it. You'll be qualified. You have that chance for that $1,000 prize pool in the semifinals and finals. But Tendo, as we move to Olympus, I do have some worries for teams like Lag, for teams like Underrated. These teams who are playing much more tactically, playing smart, playing good Apex Legends. By all means, we in the Wild Wild West, this map has shown time and time again where all those things, they 100% matter, but at the same time, there's so much out of your control. You can get third party, fourth party, fifth party. There's so many open planes. There's just some guy chilling on a roof with a sniper, and you have to rotate through these grass fields like shown on the screen right now, and you can just get snapped up. It is a weird map, and it is going to be a crazy game. What are you expecting going into this?
You know, like I did say, my prediction of the winner of this game, I think is gonna have to go to ATK. I think ATK is angry right now. I know, we're speaking behind the scenes about how, the boys, ATK, they're pretty chilled. If you speak to Chambi, he's a really nice guy. But I know that right now they're fueled up and they're ready to just rip this game into shreds. But let's not sleep on Underrated. Let's not sleep on OGC. Fractus as well, they just got into a bad fight in that previous game. So look, new map, new beginnings. Let's see how it goes for everybody.
See two teams making a quick jump here to the south side already. Bonsai Plaza going to be contested. Are we going to see a 50-50 there? We're going to see a team maybe make a move just to a further side. Both teams are in this area down bottom, Tindo, so we could see a fight break out there. North side of the map, we see Depot. The yellow team moving there. Can't see their names completely on my screen right now. And ATK is moving over towards Estates, which looks pretty free. There's one team close by there. The map kind of spread in a pretty decent place. Besides Bonsai Plaza, which is just crazy right now.
Yeah, I'm sure Bonsai Plaza is... one team might just decide to pull out of that fight. Oh no, lag. They're missing a player after coming off such an amazing win. It looks like one of their players isn't able to make it. Yeah, so the dynamic duo is going to have to make it happen. Yeah, and let's hope they can make it happen. But we'll be rooting for them to maybe, be in our top 5 at the end of this game. But yeah, definitely, I think we might see a Bonsai fight unless one of the teams decides to pull off. But, the thing about contesting in a battle royale in Apex is, especially if you don't get the contestant, it looks like...
Okay, usually I'm very upset when we have these technical difficulties and the servers do crash and whatnot. But this time around, it was right at the start of the game. Nobody died yet. And Lag were down a player. So they were like, listen, if we're going to be down one player, this whole server is coming down with us. So I'm glad we're going to have a remake. Everybody can get in fresh, fine, whatever. Apologies to the stream for the delays, but we will be back. We will be back with some sick Apex Legends action. Do not worry. Tendo, we did see some interesting drops there. Do you think with the fact that we have a replay right at the get-go after you see where everybody moved, do you think teams are going to be thinking about that when they're going back into the map second time round?
Look, I think all the other teams that didn't land at Bonsai Plaza are like, okay, we're landing here again, considering nobody, dropped on us. Those Bonsai Plaza teams might just, opt out on that. I mean, Orbital Canyon was wide open. I think one of those teams needs to pull towards that side and just loot that up. So, you know what? I think we'll see what happens when we come back from, this little quick intermission.
I mean, I took a second to get some water, and
that's what happens.
No rest for you, Esmarie.
I mean, I don't know. I just really don't. I'm not a big fan right now of this map. It feels like it doesn't like me. It doesn't like us.
We've already had crashes on Olympus. It is cursed.
I don't know. My ranked games don't normally go like this, so this is a bit of a different situation. Either way, though, I mean, here we are. We're going to rehost that lobby, of course. We're going to get back into the action. It was a little warm up for the teams. They were just getting their feet a little warm. They were getting a bit of a preview, I guess, of what's to come. Just practicing how they're going to fall, practicing maybe where they want to go. I don't know. From your side, we've talked about this a little bit. Olympus is a map right now from a competitive point of view, especially from a ranked point of view. If you want to play, ranked on Olympus, how does it feel? Thendo, you take me through this. I know you play a little bit of ranked. What do you feel about Olympus?
Yeah, like I said about Olympus, and what we also did see in that one Olympus game in Group B is once a fight breaks out, everyone just gets sucked into that fight. And that's probably what's going to happen here as well. Luckily, this lobby is a little bit, thinner than the Group A lobby. So Group B, there's a lot more room for these teams to move around. And hopefully we'll see them use this room and not really lunge into too many fights. I'm wanting to see a little bit of action from OGC, maybe get a couple of early kills, play a good rotation, as well as underrated. ATK, I mean, I think ATK is just gonna run through the game. I think that's what their game plan probably is for this one, especially considering which side of the map that they landed on. They went towards that Oasis side, and usually from Oasis, you've got really good rotations. You can go towards the top side of the map. You've got Carrier in front of you, Fight Night, and usually teams like to land there in that docks area. Then on the opposite side, you've got obviously Estates on that side with Hammond Labs and that open area. So I think they're just going to try juggle which might be the best side based on the zone and move towards that direction to try get some kills.
It's interesting though. I mean, I love Olympus. I think it's one of the most beautiful maps I've ever seen in my life. It is a gorgeous map, and it adds such a different level of intricacy. I mean, the way that the map is structured, of course, with the fall-off points that I keep falling off, with the tridents coming into play now. I mean, the differences that they've added to this map, really, it keeps the game interesting. And I think that's the beauty of Apex, is it's constantly changing, it's constantly interesting, and it's constantly a game of adaptability for the teams, for the players, for everyone that is taking part in this game. Camille, from your side, we have some interesting teams. We have some amazing players really showcasing what they've got. Talk us through a little bit of your highlights, some of the teams that really give a little bit of an interesting moment for you.
Okay, because I'm a bit of a hipster, I'm going to start with the low lights instead. I feel like OGC is one team who was really impressive through our Group B initial round in the first 4 matches. But again, in the last round on Kings Canyon, we didn't really see them show up. They weren't there repping the way we would expect them to, especially in these ultra clutch rounds here at the end. This is the final map. So I'm hoping they really show us what they're made of, because they are better than what they showed in the last game. Look at this. They are 3rd in the standings. So they have a lot to not prove, because they've already proved that, but like cement. Like, this is why we are in the podium spot. So I'm really looking forward to them. I think Reverse Caustic also had quite a poor showing in the last match. They didn't really get too many kills. They were playing the slow game, but the minute the engagement came about, they just got dropped. Senna did a good job of ratting those, so props to him for getting his team a lot of points. But for the most part, I think those 2 teams, OGC, ZA, and of course Revert Caustic, and even Innovated Crimson, in fact, they had a couple of good showings as well. But last round was just not the best. So obviously Olympus is a new map, and we'd like to see what all these teams can do coming into it when we get to the final match.
I mean, like we said, they've had a little bit of a warm-up now. They're ready. They're set. They've got a good idea of where they want to head through. I mean, the zone, of course, is now going to be a different question. We're going to have to wait and see how that's going to end up being and how that might actually affect a couple of these teams. Thendo, from your side, Olympus, a couple of drop points on the map. What are your go-tos?
Yo, Olympus is really interesting, because I think unlike World's Edge and Kings Canyon, World's Edge being the other map that isn't really in the rotation right now, all the spots are kind of really good to drop on, and they've all got seemingly good rotations. And I think that's why we have such a third-party problem on Olympus, is because, look, I'm playing the game, I'm looking through the map, and I'm like, yo, all these places are looking nice. I think of Rift is good, very wide open. If you like a little bit of that nighttime vibe, you go there. But the fights there are usually, drawing a lot of fights from the surrounding areas, looking at power plant, a really good place to land. Turbine's probably the worst place, I think, to be caught out in, because it's slap bang in the center of the map, and it's access through pretty much everywhere, and that's where you might see a couple of fights, but that also depends on how the zone is. But I look at Olympus, Estates, Bonsai, Hydrophonics, Elysium, they're just all great landing positions. So you don't really lose out on this map in terms of if a team takes somewhere you want to go to, I think you're still gonna do really good. It's not like a Kings Canyon situation where you might find yourself at runoff. And look, runoff is all right, but we all know that sometimes runoff can be a little bit shaky with the loot and just how you have to take fights on the map. So I think Olympus has that one up, that it has some really, good points of interest.
It's definitely an interesting map. Like I said, time and time again, I love playing on it. It's a very, very fun one as well. I feel like the rotations go through, especially if you've got a very aggressive composition, got that Octane, got that Revenant. In a ranked game, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. But the question goes to now my 2 casters. What is your default loadout? What is your dream loadout on Olympus?
Well, you know what I will say? It's not about the entirety of the team. That's up to that's obviously the team's preference and stuff. But the unnegotiable hero on this map, the legend I want to see the most is Gib. I think he covers a lot of the weaknesses on the map. That bubble of his, it keeps the team safe when you have to rotate to open fields. Your defensive bombardment is so great again through all this endless open fields. One of the best legends in the game right now, S tier in my books. I want to see the big man. He has to rep. If you're serious about winning on this map, pick me the Gib.
I think for me, look, I won't choose Gibby and be boring just like you, but I think Bloodhound is a pretty. No. Look, I say boring. I say boring because I think we all know Gibby's like the competitive legend right now. You know, he's got the full suit of what you need. But I think a very slept-on legend on Olympus, especially, is Bloodhound. And you're probably looking at me like, look, Olympus is a really open map. But I think there are often times where you just need that little bit of extra information because there's often just so much happening with all the third parties that you have to juggle that you just might miss something out. And that Bloodhound scan is really crucial just to alert your team that, look, guys, we don't have all this time that we think we have to, you know, get everything together and get going, you know. I think a slept-on legend as well might be Pathfinder. Very out of meta, but Pathfinder is really good for rotating. I think he's really nice for the rotations. What I don't like about Octane so much is how, I want to say, exposed you are in the air. And sometimes, unlike a zipline, I think a zipline is very linear in terms of how you use ziplines. On Pathfinder, they go straight, you know, and you know if someone's shooting on you or what to do. In the air, sometimes on a jump pad, like, you don't know. Sometimes the movement is a little bit shaky. So yeah, I think Pathfinder very slept on. Maybe love to see some more Pathfinder picks.
Well, either way, I'm going to give it over to you guys. You've got Olympus for a second time. It's going to be great. It's going to be good. This is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Thendo plays and Camille Chikte. You guys take it away. Let's see how this goes.
Us on the stream, us on the broadcast, and the players have all had a little bit extra time to breathe, to think, to really weigh the importance of this final match of Group B's group. This is our last chance to qualify. If you're a bottom team, if you're a top team and you want to really prove just how good you are, like OGC, like Innovated Sky, this is your time. This is your time to shine. And we see 80K going back towards the Aces once again. We see mostly similar drops, but like you said, Tendo, you called it a few teams moving away from Bonsai, so it's not so stacked. But if we look at on the left side of the map, we see a lot of teams there in that area. So we could see, you know, a 50-50 right from the get-go in Elysium. Oh.
Yeah, Elysium looks to be jam-packed with some people, and I'm pretty sure one of those teams that is there is underrated, and I can't quite see who that team on top of them is, but I hope that team is ready for a fight, as we are going to tune in to this Elysium fight, which is going to be Bradley shooting of Rather Fortune, setting out that Bloodhound scan, and he's going to climb on top of the roof here. I'm trying to see what he can pick out with the R3 or 1. Does a lot of damage here. And it's lag! Oh no! Not the winner of the last game in this fight against Underrated. It looks like everything's a little bit in a distress here as they just try to calm things down and take up this fight. But the beams are really, really clean and coming in from lag. But Underrated are in a really good high ground position here to clutch this fight out.
Both teams got kind of good loot. We see Lag also have a purple shield and one purple shield available for Underrated as well. This is Underrated's bread and butter. They are a very aggressive team, so this is a 50-50 they feeling comfortable with. Can they clutch it out though? This is the previous champions of the game, so they have a lot to prove. Actually, a title to uphold at the moment, and can they do it is the question. Lag already, Nai gets dropped down. Is it going to be enough to keep the team alive? Nope. Yes! They wiped out Underrated. Easy peasy, Tendo. Why did you doubt them?
My goodness. You know what? I'm looking at Lag right now, and their mechanics are really on point, actually. You know, I think we did sleep on them, Camille. We never brought them up. They come out of nowhere to win the 5th game. They verse Underrated, who's like the 2nd best team in this lobby, who we saw in that game playing so well with their rotations. And look, unlucky, the lobby gets reset. The contestant comes through. I don't think underrated, or whoever landed there was contested before, but clearly where the team originally dropped, they weren't really happy with it, and they decided to go for this. But look, this is exactly what happens on Olympus. ATK is coming in for lag. Is lag ready for that fight against ATK though?
They're going to be feeling confident. Their shields would have been hopefully be leveled up after winning that insane clutch fight. And like you say, we have slept on them. That mechanics to show a great fight like that against a team like Underrated who like to play so aggressive. That's their bread and butter. We've seen lag play a slower game to get their victory, but put them in a tough situation. They can clutch it out as well. They did it against ATK. Admittedly, it was 2v3, but they've done it against Underrated as well. That's the top two teams in the lobby. They've consecutively won fights against, so they're making their mark in this lobby. All the enemy teams watching this, preparing for the semi-finals, are going to be worried about this team because they showed they can kick it with the best of the best. Innovated Crimson, they're going to find some people with a Scania and Bloodhound. They're going to look for some shots. None of those going to land, but they're ready to fight. They want to take this. I will rise here on the Bloodhound, looking for some enemies to bring down.
Rise with the R301, dealing a little bit of damage, and in the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of one of the members of lag falling off the map. So I kind of hope they get, I kind of hope they get that banner and bring him back into this game. It doesn't look like the fight really broke loose because I haven't seen anything in the kill feed between lag and ATK unless they're popping and prodding each other right now. But Innovated Crimson needs to be really careful in this fight as they are the team out in the open. The dome is going to be popped by Kaiju to just buy his team a little bit of time to get these heals, and they're just trying to deal as much damage as they can. The Bangalore ulti comes through, and that's a really good ulti from 69 because they'll be able to rotate out of this fight and just get a little bit of distance from Innovated Crimson. They don't want to fight right now, they're just trying to settle into the game, and they don't like this bullying that's happening.
Well, Innovated Crimson, they don't look like they want to stop. They want to bring down 69 Gaming. Long range shots are there. A lot of damage came out onto Ricky. They just jump on the Trident. They did indeed. So they're going to get some extra speed. Hopefully they don't get caught out or shot, so no extra damage. They are taking a lot of damage. Look at the shield just get melted. But they should be able to rotate to a safer place. We hope. We hope. Too much speed to catch right now.
Yeah, and tuning back to this side of the map where Elysium is and Hydrophonics, you can just see that ATK is trying to fish out lag. And I don't know if they've gotten that res off just yet, lag. Hopefully they've gotten the banner. They did get that res off, and they are going to be making their rotation. So now lag is going to have to be running from ATK this whole game. ATK is going to be behind them, ready to third-party lag, and they don't want to put themselves in an awkward position where they're going to have to be fighting a team in front and then ultimately ATK from behind. So they really need to be smart about this rotation. They can't be standing still and waiting for something to happen. But we're tuning into Bonsai Plaza, which was very heated in that first edition of Loot Simulator that we had. But now it's pretty quiet with Fractus Gaming. Just trying to see and what's happening in the area. It doesn't seem like much is happening, but I think they have spotted a team, the one team that decided to land here and loot.
They do have that Bloodhound, as you mentioned, so they do have that scan available at all times. They got this Octane. Should have a jump pad available as well as a Bangalore. They do see somebody down there. Now they're actually going to get they're going to get found here, rather. Not sure if it's third party or that's the original team they were looking for. A lot of damage out there. GZFP going to have to get his armor up and his HP up.
Yeah, that was kind of out of nowhere for Fractus, but they've decided to just run away from this fight. They don't really need to be taking this. It's on the edge of zone, but this area is going to get really congested. And Camille, here's Olympus at its finest. Lag have now rotated here to Bonsai Plaza. ATK is rotating behind them. Fractus here, we're looking for a bit of a pick at Bonsai, and now in a tough position. And it's sometimes not knowing how much to bite, in the sandwich. Like, when do you know to pull out? When is it about to go crazy? And I think OGC is also involved in this fight because I did see one of the members in that kill feed.
They are indeed. This area is popping right now, but ATK finally made the rotation through. They drop down. They arch nemesis lag. The payback is this. Savitar gonna drop in there looking for more. Who else can they find, Tendo? See another team down bottom. They might be able to clean up both these teams here in this fight, but at the very least, lag about to go down. The second member gets dropped. This is revenge for the last game. Lag was the team that took away ATK's perfect run here in the group stage, the blemish on their record, and now they ain't having none of it. And we see Daddy Cool also getting a kill there on the kill feed. So across the map, there's just action going down.
Yeah, and it's just tough for these teams that are caught on this rotation. So many people are going to be sucked in here. And, you know, one thing about Olympus as well is the way they designed the map, it chokes a lot of these teams out at this point here. The zone's going to be pulling in, and they don't have many options to enter into this next zone. They're going to have to literally go right where Dust is looking. They need to go towards that area. They can't really wrap into Solar because it's going to take too long. And at that point, the rest of the lobby has, you know, moved on to the next phase of the game. But MaFisi is going to go for the opposite rotation and go from behind because they're granted this rotation because they have the high ground. So that's going to be good for them. They don't need to run into ATK here. ATK is still just checking if this team is going to pull down on them. But at this point, I'm sure they know they might be able to just get this clean rotation into this next zone. Still 12 teams, though. It's up and down. It feels like so many people have been dropped, you know. We lost Underrated, which is very disappointing from them. But, you know, it does happen in Battle Royales where you get contested like that and you just end up not winning the fight. But it's, you know, we still have a lot of people in this lobby.
Definitely so, and it looks like in the first lobby there was more people running on South African time more than anything else because people were just late. So we had 15 teams drop in this lobby as opposed to the first one. So it's good for them or sad for them. We see. Oh, there was a chance. Is he going to go for it? He's hesitating. He's got the longbow. The supply is going to be there. Took a little bit too long here. Maybe get that shot off. But they're still going to probably look for the fight here on DDC. They haven't got a kill in a while. So it'd be pretty big for them if they could get a chance to take this fight here. And they're going to go for it. Those longbow shots kind of on point. Oh, they get the drop immediately. And the kill as well. Super easy.
Yeah, just caught sleeping out in the open, not really aware of what's happening in the surrounding, and then you just get longbowed from nowhere. And longbow is, it's hit or miss for me, you know. The people that can use longbows are just absolutely insane. I think Dust is one of those people that is just insane with the longbow. But it's a really difficult weapon to use, and to see, you know, the longbow being used from this range, especially, and just hitting all those shots is really, really good. And they just get that free KP of that player rotating here, DDC. And DDC needs to make the rotation. They're just holding the high ground to get as much information as they can on where they need to rotate, tuning into Royal Esports, who are here on a carrier. And they're also on the edge of the zone trying to make a rotation right now.
And Royal Esports under a lot of pressure here. Should be able to hold the building for a decent amount of time, get their regen up at least. And we do see a lot of teams favoring the sniper here on this Olympus map. As you pointed out, there's a lot of open fields when teams are rotating and you get a lot of chip damage out. And we saw a Forsaken Village, they were playing with that one earlier. He had a golden scope on it, so the gun is can be used to its maximum potential in the situations. EDC Esports still chilling out here.
Yeah, OGC and ATK in the same area, but ATK is rather just gonna wrap around and fish for potentially some more kills. I mean, look, I haven't seen too much of OGC, but I did see they got a couple of kills on the board there. Revert, Caustic, we haven't seen much of them, and I mean, last time we tuned into them, we witnessed Caramel just getting instantly down. So it looks like things are doing a little bit better.
I'll defend your boys for once. They did get they wiped the team earlier, and I think they beat Innovated Gaming, so pretty big for them. But now we see teams getting caught out here. ATK on the hunt. Fractus Gaming in trouble. FGJJ gonna get brought down, and now the rest of them probably gonna follow suit. GZ is down as well. ATK in a very decent place right now. We need to see a heal up there from YSO, but the rest of his teammates, they're ready to go. They're ready to bring people down. And that was a nice big fight from them. They've been quite quiet this lobby, so good to see them get some team kills here.
Yeah, definitely good to see them get some team kills. And look who is lurking from the shadows. MaFisi 1 to third party, but they don't really know what's happening on that opposite side. So, excuse me, they're just going to hold this side of the zone on the edge and just, you know, wait for a little bit more information. Longbow coming out again here on Astros, who OGC just holding edge of zone as well. OGC, interesting combination here, Camille. You don't often see Horizon and Wraith on the same team because they pretty much fulfill the same role, right?
Those big entry fraggers, you know, very attacking heroes. I saw there was a team, I believe it was Elite Gaming in the Group C. They picked 3 attacking heroes. I think it was Revenant, Octane, and was it Wraith? I think it was Wraith. That was their lineup. So I've seen these crazy attacking lineups in the past. We'll see how it works out for them, though. When it comes to holding zones and stuff in the end, maybe not the best composition. But for now, and for getting these kills, at least you know it is going to be effective lineup.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see how well that lineup works for OGC. But I mean, they're backing their guns at this point, I'm sure. They're also looking for a couple of frags as much as they can. And you can just see OGC's tailored for scrimming. They're not even moving from this location. They know they don't really need to be looking for much. They're on the edge of the zone. They've got the whole of estates in front of them to play from as well. And they're just trying to gather as much information. And they're also just trying to look above here because they didn't hear those fights. Obviously, 80K was taking out Fractus on the top there. So they're just worried that that rotation might just come down from behind them before, you know, they move forward. But not doing too bad. They're just holding things down, holding their foot down.
Hostile spotted.
They're seeing a few rotations there. They got a lot of information where they're standing right now. Innovated Christendom, are they going to look for the respawn here, Tender, do you think? Or you think they're just going to try play this 2 against the wall? They look like they're making their way towards a beacon, yeah?
Yeah, look, it's one of those decisions you have to make. Do we play this with the 2 people disadvantage, and ultimately you sacrifice your playstyle when you're down a man, right? So do we compromise our playstyle, or do we go for it and get the res? And look, Innovated Crimson is one of those teams I think is making it to semifinals, you know, regardless of if they go down in this game. I think they've got quite a decent amount of points. They were sitting in top 10, if I'm not mistaken, of this group. So I'd go for the res if I were them. The lobby is also pretty slow, so there's not too much happening. Ideally, they get a mobile res though and try res on a safe position, because that res inside the state is going to be heavily contested as soon as everybody hears that. I mean, 80K's in the area, OGC's in the area, so it's going to be really tough for them if they do res right in there.
We'll see what they do. TDC taking a bit of a skirmish here, having to res up, shield battery up there. Now we actually have Crypto in the game. I didn't notice that earlier. They're going to send out the drone, scouting out here, seeing what they can find. They do have the ulti available as well. I don't think they'll need to farm up damage and disrupt things just yet. But we'll see. If they want to take a fight, they could. 80K holding this area.
So
I'm ultis there.
I'm actually wondering if that's OGC pulling up on them right
now.
It is OGC. Oh, this is kind of unfortunate for OGC. A bit of a fight that I think they shouldn't have taken if they are pulling up on this, because now 80K is just sitting as that team on the edge of the zone that's going to be able to farm everybody.
Innovation Gaming, they're in a weird place as well, forced into a tussle. And 80K, they just find another team. I think MaFisi also get caught here as well. And yeah, this was the worst place to leave 80K in, because this is just going to be lambs to the slaughter right now. They're going to run in and feel so confident to just bring enemies down. Look at the streaker go. Man, oh man, what confident play right there. Runs into 2 and absolutely shreds them.
Dust is angry that he died last game, you know. Dust is trying to make up, you know, he's kill leader right now. He's like, you know what, boys, I let you down in the last game, but this game, I've got you. I'm gonna get these kills, and it's good to see, man. But now this area is really gonna start popping off, and that Horizon player has to be one from OGC trying to escape and get into a building. I wonder if they were able to get that one player up that was knocked in the kill feed. Royal Esports now on the opposite wall here, jumping into this fight, and they do take OGC out. And that's just unfortunate for OGC. I think they just sat in that area for just a little bit too long, and too many teams were pulling in. But this is a really interesting zone here, Camille, because this is an S-state finish, and ideally each team should look for a home, man. I mean, it's free real estate at this point.
This is absolutely sensational. DDC still in a good pace. They got a Prowler now as well from one of the care packages, so this is a drop weapon. They are ready. They got these snipers. Don't know how effective it's going to be at this point. Oh my god, talking about that. Decent damage coming out here from Nautica, and this is the best zone for the end right here in a state. It's such a crazy area. We see a lot of fights in pubs at this time, like at the start of the game, but now to have a zone pool here, we haven't seen that just yet. And look at these shots from Forsaken. He's so comfortable with this longbow throughout the game, been putting out this consistent damage, and it shows in the shields as well.
Yeah, DDC's still, I think, a team that we've been sleeping on. I've been, getting glimpses of their mechanics, and the mechanics are definitely there. It's probably just the game knowledge that they're lacking, but they're doing well to hold a central building and to have gotten that building. We've seen them there for quite some time, but 69 now is gonna try to pull it in for a fight. Okame does have that prowler with a DT, which is really great considering he's playing Bangalore, able to pop that smoke and have that vision over the opponents, considering they don't have a DT. And there's actually a lot of snipers being used here, Camille, like a lot. Triple takes, longbows, it's just a long-range fight all out on this Olympus map right here at Estates for this end game. And Rookie needs to be careful. It's taking a lot of damage, but you're running out in the open. You can't do that. You might get knocked. But luckily, it doesn't come through.
Oh, he's the R301 used as well. Like you say, these long-range guns seem to be the flavor of the month right now. And 80k doing a decent amount of damage. They're ready to go. Like you said, this is a revenge game from them. They don't want to be shown they can bleed, and right now they're just looking for kills. They're not going to hesitate at all. They're going to bring down Team 69 here, who actually made it very far despite getting chased by 80k early on. If you remember that run they made on the Trident, did make it a top 5 though, so good for them. And we see DDC Crimson still playing very well, holding this area in Estate so damn well. They just seem to be they can't really be pushed off right now. We see, you did say you want to see all these teams in the building. Royal Esports has found themselves a building as well. And snipers, just snipers. Everywhere I look, I just see snipers.
Yeah, and 80k is gonna be aggressive, yeah. Oh my goodness, why so with the Mozambique hammer points going crazy? And DDC were in a good position, but they've just, not rotating. They're not trying to get themselves in a favorable position, and 80k can just snuff that out considering how the lobby is going, and they know they've got a dominating force in this one, especially since a lot of our top teams have been taken out so far. But 80k now just calming things down after taking out a few members of DDC. I'm not sure if the whole of DDC is out, as it does look like Chambi is looking for some kills, but I'm looking at 80k and they're looking clean to win this one up, unless Royal Esports has something crazy to say.
Well, this could be their time to shine. We'll see that sitting here with the vault and the flatline. Limit should be in a good position. He's got his jump pad available as well, so if any other teams do break out in the skirmish, they can third party if they'd like to. They got that mobility available. And see, the fight is breaking out. This area is so hotly contested. 4 teams left. I think there'll only be 2 or 3 complete teams, and well, no, there can't be 3 complete teams. 2 complete teams at the maximum. Royal Esports and 80k, and then just stragglers for the rest. Now 80k, they're looking to jump in. Ooh, the Bloodhound is going to be so clutch in this situation because it just allows them to do what they did to DDC. They can just jump in these buildings and take take enemies out. And what 80k does so well, we've seen it time and time again. When you try hold spots against them, they find a way to get in and bring you down. They understand these maps, they understand rotation so well. 5 hostile detectors, they scan them all. How is it going to pan out? Is Royal Esports going to be able to put a dent in the crack of the 80k armor? Or is 80k going to sweep this, as we know they possibly can?
So I think 80k know they've won this game, because what's gonna happen here is with this next zone is all these teams in the actual estates in these buildings have to run up to 80k and climb over the wall, considering it kind of mostly ends towards them, if you can see that. So 80k is just gonna try to do as much damage as they can. They just need to not get knocked. That might be a little bit shaky. It might force an aggressive play from one of these teams. So they just need to hold their ground, do as much damage as they can, and then I think they should be clean to clutch this one out. But like, that's not out. They've even found a PK.
And
so
they find the
now
freaking Peacekeeper. Okay.
Now it's just sealed.
So even if you get a knock there, if you don't knock the guy with the Peacekeeper and you try get into that close range encounter, it's going to be such a difficult fight to take. His own positioning is absolutely awesome for the 6th round. We will see how this goes. Royal Esports looking to make the push here. 80k there and waiting. How's this going to go? Innovated Crimson. They're here, they're holding the building for now, but Royal Esports are hot on their heels just outside the door.
The problem is now both teams have used their bubbles, and 80k is just standing on top of them. At this point, 80k is just going to sit back, watch these 2 teams fight as the zone pulls in, and they're just going to farm all their kills. They're going to break the jump pad as well, so there's no escape for you at this point, guys. You just need to fight each other, and that's exactly what's going to happen, as the door's going to be kicked down. And now Royal Esports are going to flush inside this room. They managed to get 1 knock. No players have been taken down yet. The defensive bombardment goes down here. ATK needs to back up a little bit, but they do have their dome, and now it's going to be ATK versus Royal through the doorway. Defensive bombardment raining down. Champy tries to get some high ground, and I wonder if Champy's going to do some crazy stuff here. Waiso's in already. Waiso with that Mozambique hammer points, trying to do as much damage as he can. One jumps out. Waiso goes down. It's all up to dust, but now it's a 1v2 here for Royal, and ATK clutched the map out.
Woo! That was close. Waiso drops in the end, but ATK, like you said, they understood their position. They understood this lobby to the absolute perfect. And in the end game, you're never going to bet against them when it's a full-on 3v3, especially when they have the positional advantage. It was very unfortunate for Royal that they had to be the ones to aggress, but that's the perks of playing the way ATK does. They had to, because they weren't in a place where they could sit when the 6th zone came around. Esmery, the top dogs, have done it again.
I'm just saying, if you're not already following NODWIN Gaming Africa's YouTube, their Twitch, if you're not following all of their socials, and you're not keeping up with the action that we've got for Group B, then you are missing out. That is absolutely sensational way to finish off Group B. ATK came back, they showed why they were the top dogs, they showed why they deserve to be here and in those top spots, and man, oh man, did they show us a lot. I mean, they were out for blood at that stage. I just kept seeing them going and going and going, and taking the Mozambique in the action, in the final action there. I mean, Tendo, talk me through it. How was that for you? Do you think ATK has, shown themselves to be quite the worthy opponents once again?
Yeah, I mean, there's ATK coming out as our champions of that final game in Group B, and yeah, man, just a show of their confidence. I mean, look, first game, a little bit of a rough rotation, caught out, and in this game, they definitely turned it around. I think they had perfect rotations throughout that entire map. They hugged the edge of the zone, they knew which fights to take, and at the end there, you saw they just stood their ground, controlled the rest of that ring, and those two teams had to eventually fight each other, because that's all it is. Sometimes when you're in that position where Royal Esports is, they knew we're probably not going to win this game, considering ATK has that position. We need to just dive in here and get our second place and get whatever placement points and kill points that we can. And I mean, cheeky Mozambique, of course, but I mean, the hammer points on that, it goes crazy with the hammer points.
Oh, it's delicious. And here's the question. Who's going to be our MVP? It's going to be none other than Chambi coming into there with the 7 kills and the 1.6k damage. I mean, I even saw the Peacekeeper getting picked up there towards the end, but I mean, just beautifully played there from ATK. They had such good positioning there, and they knew it. They knew exactly that they just had to chill it out. They just had to wait for the teams to fight, and they could go in third party whenever they really pleased, in all honesty. Camille, how's it feel? Group B done. What are your thoughts?
Done and dusted. Yes, there was that small blemish. Yes, they lost. They came second, second in one map. But at the end of the day, they were the best team, especially in this third game. Like Kendo was saying, they controlled this entire game. Lag, they are rivals from the last game. They were on the back foot from the get-go. They did fall off the map, which is hilarious. But regardless, ATK put them under pressure the minute they tried to take an engagement. Tender was saying, ATK are hot in the heels. The minute they fight, they're going to get third party and they get wrecked. In that first engagement ATK they took out the entirety of Lag team. They took out the team that Lag was fighting. We saw another situation where they were fighting on the edge of zone, took out 2 other teams. And now in the end, you knew what was going to happen. You knew what is going to happen. The prophet here, Mr. Tendo plays. He called it. He said they done and dusted. But this game is over. And that's the way it went. ATK Arena, the best team of Group B. Shock Pikachu face. Who's surprised? Who's surprised?
I mean, the question is now, how are the standings looking? What are they going to be showing us? But as we get them ready, Thenda, talk me through it. I mean, you're in that situation. You just dropped a map. You're coming back on Olympus, the second version of Olympus. And now you have something to prove. You have something to show that, hey, we lost that map, but we're going to show why we lost it, being RNG, and show that we're the better team and we're going to be taking it away from everybody. And I think they had a lot to say, and you could see it in their playstyle. They were playing quite aggressively. They really were gunning and looking for blood. And I mean, the standings, I think they speak for themselves right now.
Yeah, it's 97 kills from the ATK team. That's a very, very extremely impressive. I mean, they've done so much in this lobby, but let's not look away from us. Underrated. Yes, they got into a fight with Lag in the beginning. Yes, they dropped early, but look, they are second best team in this lobby, and I think in terms of looking at the full spectrum of all the teams, they're in my top 10, 100% in terms of one of the teams that just might snatch it away from DNMK or 80K in those finals. You know, OGC, I think they could have played it a little bit better. I think they're just too passive, you know. They're trying to play it like a scrim, which isn't bad. It's getting them the placement points. You can clearly see that. 41 placement points to 17 kills. But this is a very kill-heavy, you know, meta lobby. You need the kills. You know, teams are able to get that. I mean, Lag, who came out of nowhere, already have more kills than OGC, you know. They don't have as much placement points, obviously, but then you see how it all balances out in Apex Legends with the placement and the kill points, you know? And, you know, just looking down the lobby, Royal Esports, pretty impressed with them. Crimson, also pretty impressed. DDC also held up pretty well. I think my most disappointing two teams for me is Fractus and Revert Caustic. I think they just didn't show up today.
Well, that being said, Group A and Group B are now done and dusted. No more final chances. Now it is just waiting on Group C, which is, of course, going to be happening tomorrow night. So please, for those of you watching tonight, you want to see who's going to be that top 40, you need to be watching tomorrow night. You need to be following NODWIN Gaming Africa, and you need to be following them on all their socials. Now the question is, let us check what the standings are going to be, and let's just understand that the top 40 across all three groups. Understand that it's not just the top 10 from one group, a top 10 from another group. It's all the three groups top 40. So obviously that question comes through. Yes, you need to be getting placement points. Yes, you need to be getting kill points. There's so many factors that come into it, and the fact that every single game there's a different map. Every single map that you're playing, it's a bit of a different situation. If we think about it, we can look at the points distribution, just see, once again, understand how these maps get played out and how the teams can get their opportunities to get themselves locked in that top 40. I know for a fact that Dr. Sid is looking at that bottom 5 from the initial top 40 that we saw at the beginning of tonight, and he's wondering how those Group C matches are going to be going tomorrow. I think, Camille, you have a couple of players that you're wondering about. And looking at the overall standings for tonight, still looking pretty healthy so far. I think Group C matches are really going to throw a little bit of a wrench in the works here. Of course, your top 40, I think they're sitting pretty right now. Camille, from your side, top 40, top 20 at least, they should be happy. The bottom 20, I think, should be sweating still a little bit.
100%. The bottom 20, they have all the pressure on them. If you look at teams like Krokkenosters, etc., Tendo was saying 40 points seems to be the sweet spot where if you got those 40 points, you more or less secured into that in the place in the semi-finals. But Group C is the group that I think has the most potential for me. Group A got DNMK just absolutely decimating lobbies. Group B got 80K just being themselves and wrecking kids. But Group C was kind of spread. I mean, yes, Elite Gaming are a phenomenal team. Mayo Addicts look sensational, but it's not the same level of where you have just one team. Like, if they're on this side of the map, nobody can be there because you're just going to get eaten up and spat out. So I think there's a lot of potential for teams there. So I think the teams on the lower end of Group C should really put their heads down because they have a good opportunity. Not to say that there's bad teams there or that the top two teams aren't that good, but the opportunity is just slightly greater. So I hope they step up. And I hope, and as you can see, I look at Punk Gaming Interactive from Group C, a very aggressive team, 21 kills. So, in their placement points did suffer, which we spoke about in the last time as well. If you compare them to Punishers, it's like the complete opposite, where they're sitting with 30 placement points and just 3 kills. It's going to be an interesting lobby. I think we'll see maybe a bit safer play as opposed to what we saw in their showing last time, where they were playing these very aggressive combos. Octane Revenant, that was the meta for Group C. And one day if that's going to be the situation tomorrow. But I'm hyped. That's all I'm saying. Do you see which 40 teams are going to be representing in the semifinals of this African Throwdown?
Either way, I think Group A and Group B have something to be proud of. They really stepped it up tonight, and we were waiting for it. We needed that. They had their last opportunities tonight. They had 2 maps to showcase what they've got and to secure as many points as they possibly could. And I really think that if you're in Group A and you're in Group B right now, you have something to be proud of. You did a lot of work, you did a lot of good work, and you showed some sick plays, especially some of the interesting matches we had tonight, and interesting plays. Either way, this is the Apex Legends African Throwdown. Thedo Plays, Camille Chikte, thank you for joining me tonight. And thank you, for those of you still watching, for staying with us and just witnessing the greatness that these players have to show. But that's going to be it. There's still going to be a Group C matches tomorrow, so please, again, follow NODWIN Gaming Africa. There's so much more action coming. So for those of you, for tonight, we're going to say good night and see you tomorrow.